Hello, everybody. How's it going?
Howdy.
Tonight we are we're joined by our good friend Jimmy Hapa, aka
Hey.
ImportGamingFTW for the win. I always say FTW, just I don't know why. Thank you, Jimmy, for joining us.
Oh,
This
wow.
is-
Thanks for having me on. Yeah.
This is the first time we're joined by someone on another continent.
That's right.
Yeah, you guys are going international now.
Yeah.
Well,
So
hopefully YouTube will kick you up to the international search rankings, and you'll have
Yeah.
60,000 subs by the end of the stream.
Maybe.
So-
And I'll still be stuck at 3,000.
so Jimmy joins us
Fine.
from Japan. I don't know a ton about your background. Why are you in Japan?
It's the only place that would have me at this point.
Wow.
You know. Now, I'm not gonna lie. It's part of it is because of video games.
I mean, yeah, I'd get wager that most people that go to Japan these days, that maybe not most people, but maybe most younger people, that has at least some part of the allure.
It is. I mean, it's. I think a lot of people come to Japan, for the quote unquote wrong reasons. I want to go to Akihabara. I'm gonna go to a maid cafe and all that kind of stuff. But hey, you know what? Just do what you want. Do you. But I lived here back in the day as well for a few years, and I
You
kind of
didn't grow up
regretted.
there.
I didn't grow up here. I grew up in Hawaii, so
Okay.
not too far away.
Hmm.
But I'm half Japanese by blood, but and that kind of has something to do with it as well. But not that I'm a citizen or anything. But
Is it? I mean, are you planning to stay long term, or are you just here for now?
till I get deported, just make sure they don't find out about the stream.
You're right.
Maybe if I get doxxed because of the stream, I don't know. My employer gets wind, like, oh, you're hanging out with My Life in Gaming, huh?
So we were talking earlier that it's very appropriate that you are joining us for this stream. And when I knew that I was going to do this episode, I was like, I got to ask Jimmy to do this, because you did a video for Gunner's Heaven as your very first video on your channel.
Yeah, not the very first video, but like the very first Import Gaming for the Win episode.
Okay.
I kind of used the other videos before to kind of practice, and it was an utter failure as well. I should have practiced more before I put out the first Import Gaming for the Win. But yeah, it was the first episode, even though it's not quite a Japan-only game, because as we both know, it's a rapid reload in Europe.
Right.
And I didn't actually know that all these years. I had the game, I didn't know that. So I was like, oh, well, I've already kind of capped all the footage and decided I wanted to do this episode. So let me just change the premise. Like, oh, games that are in Japan and maybe other places, but not America.
But not in America.
Not in America.
So many people, well, maybe not so many people, but there were at least 2 or 3 comments on the new video today saying it should have been mentioned that it was released in Europe as Rapid Reload, and Coury explicitly says
I remember,
that.
yeah.
So.
I saw it, and I was like, and I saw some of those comments too this morning when I watched it. It's just like, it reminds me of, like, I did a video on this game called Willy Wombat for the Sega Saturn, and I don't know, I probably have like 8 comments now, but people are like, is this Crash Bandicoot? Hey, this is the same name as Crash Bandicoot. I'm like, yeah, I said that in the beginning of the video, dude. But I get it. Maybe they're just like, oh, boring. Okay, gameplay. There you go. Maybe they just skip past it all. But
So is there
scrolling.
a specific reason you chose to do this one as your first video, or you just really liked it for a long time?
Well, like, I kind of mentioned this in the Sailor Moon games video I did a while back, but like, the reason I got into Import Gaming was because I wanted to play Sailor Moon game on PlayStation, which, by the way, is a horrible, terrible game. Don't ever play it. play it once just for the lulz, right? But I got like a PlayStation 1 modded, and this is like in early 1998, so I was in the 8th grade.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I gotta get a modded PlayStation 1. But unfortunately, I could never buy that Sailor Moon game because it was like $90 at the store I used to go to growing up. So I was like, well, screw that. What else can I get for cheap? So I ended up buying like Street Fighter EX Plus Alpha. That was my first import game I ever bought, which came out here. It was pretty bad. I ended up getting Brave Prince and Musashiden just for the Final Fantasy VIII demo. That game ended up kicking ass, so I was happy about that.
Yeah, great game.
But then I was like, you know what? Yeah, these games are already released in the States. I need to get some sort of games I never heard of. And so there's a bin of like reject games in that store that nobody wanted. So I saw Gunner's Heaven in there, and I played Wild Arms. Like, oh, this is cool. This looks like Wild Arms. And I looked in the back. Okay, it's a shooting game. How much is it? It was like $5. I was like, wow, you can't go wrong with $5. So I picked that up. That's like the third import game I ever bought. And at the same time, I also bought a game that's really expensive these days. It's called Keio Yugekitai, which is a Keio Flying Squadron 2. I think is the.
I didn't know that they made a sequel to it. Like that's like the most valuable Sega CD game, U.S. Sega CD game at least.
Right. This is just like the sequel to it on Saturn, and it's got the shmup sections, but it's also like a running kind of platforming game. But so that was like that's probably like the first non-American import game I ever played. So yeah, Gunner's Heaven. It's a great game.
Yeah, it is. It's like such
as
a cool
Trinos
game.
now.
Yeah, no, Try like immediately after watching the video, he's like, I better buy this because he's afraid I was gonna make the price go up.
Well, the funny thing was when I went to eBay to look for a copy, the first copy that I clicked that came up said by the time I clicked the link, it said sold. And so then I went and picked another one and bought it. It was actually cheaper anyway, and looks good as far as I can tell. But then on Twitter, a viewer called Sakurazaki, who we met at MagFest, said, I'm 4 minutes into this video and I already ordered it on eBay. I said, I bet you bought the one that I clicked on. So I mean, it's just there's some appeal to this game, and maybe it's just because I love Wild Arms so much. But there is a certain appeal to the look of this game that's just like you look at it and you immediately think that looks like a fun game.
Yeah, I mean I think we showed it in the PlayStation RGB episode. And we get a lot of questions.
Your mic a little bit.
I already did.
See?
Yep, I turned it up already. I thought it was like overly loud before, and that's why I turned it down for just like a minute. But I guess I was overreacting to it. I mean, we got a lot of like questions about like what is this game? What is this game? So I mean,
yeah, you guys showcase all these really good like 2D 32-bit games. I know you guys have a lot of like was it Silhouette Mirage?
Mm-hmm.
People are always asking like, "What's that Little Ralph thing?" It's like, oh,
yeah.
You guys know those good obscure kind of games.
Yeah, there's certain games that we've featured that frequently get "What is this?" questions. And,
but like the king of that is not even a PlayStation game. Like the question we get asked about Sin and Punishment. Like all the time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. It kind of changes from time to time. Yeah, both of them actually. We get asked all the time. What game is this? And then, but so the reason I mentioned was Silhouette Mirage and Little Ralph are both ones that come up a lot. And, it's not that we've even featured those games extensively, but we like using. Little Ralph, I think, only had one clip in the PlayStation episode.
Right.
Yeah. People catch it out of the corner of their eye and they're like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great game, and Jimmy has done a awesome video on that game, and that game is like $300 now.
You're not just saying that because I cut you a check, right?
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
No, it's
that
like
game looks
like there's not a lot of videos like on that out there, and like yours is like the number one hit when you search for it.
Not for long.
Well, no, I mean I like until I only have the PSN version.
Right.
So I don't think
I haven't played it, but what looks so interesting to me about that game is, it looks like all you do is jump and attack. Like, does it really only use 2 buttons? Like, it looks so simple to me.
You basically just have the 2 buttons, but you can kind of wind up your attack and charge it a little bit.
And you can hit them like hit things like a golf club.
I really like when games are bold enough to not use all the buttons on a controller. I mean, it seems like such a dumb thing, you can do more things to the controller, but I always feel like when they use restraint, that tends to result in something a little better, in my opinion. But you don't see stuff
definitely.
like that.
Well, I came out, from like the 16-bit era. Super Nintendo had 2 shoulder buttons, and the familiar A, B, X, Y. One of the reasons I didn't buy the PlayStation before I got an N64 is because was like, there's 2 shoulder buttons and all these crazy kind of like people, as people who grew up playing like simple video games, something like a controller that has like 80 buttons on it is kind of intimidating for sure.
Yeah.
Something like Little Ralph though is, simple, pure joy.
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and start.
Okay, I see you going through the menus there. It's weird that certain like the voices are off by default. That's like such an unusual thing.
Yeah, it is. It's strange. I don't know why they would do that.
And another crazy thing about this game, like you mentioned, it literally has no memory card support, which, I mean, I wonder if it's the only PlayStation game without memory card support. I've never heard of that.
Well, I'm sure there are a few games that don't have any sort of memory card support, but I think this is probably the first game I ever played that did not have any whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I know, like, I mentioned it in my old video, which, it's funny, I almost did like a 3-year anniversary because it's coming up on 3 years. I was going to just redo it, but thanks, Coury, I don't have to anymore. I'd rather not. You did everything I wanted to do and better, so... I was gonna say, it doesn't have memory card support, but I was looking at my copy of Gunner's Heaven this morning, and I found a little clip out from like a magazine or something, and there's like stage select codes, and
oh yeah, there's like a whole bunch.
Yeah,
there's like a lot of different codes. I've actually have not beat this game. Usually, like I will always try to beat a game before I do a video on it. It's just that, it's funny because this video I was gonna do it a long time ago. And then it just kind of got sidetracked. And when we discovered that our upcoming episode, the Framemeister Alternatives episode, was going to be, we needed an extra week, I kind of went back and finished my script for this. And, I think I finished...
You got to the last boss.
Yes. Yeah. Well, no, actually, I did not. I mean, there's I say in the video that there's 5 levels, but that's because there's 5 regular levels, and then the last level is just a big boss fight. I did not beat the shooter level because it's like 15 minutes long and there's no checkpoints.
Right.
So it just kind of takes. I mean, if you're trying to like beat it as quickly as you can, it's just not going to happen. Like that's kind of a dead end. I got really close against that boss.
I was gonna say, at least you got further than I did when I recorded my footage. I only got to like level 4, and I died like, I think I used up 2 continues. I was like, all right, well I got enough footage for a video. This is back, before I kind of took things a little bit more seriously. I was like, that's all I need. It's back when I could crank out like a video every week. When you first start and you don't really care that much.
Yeah.
I don't really have much of an excuse now, even 3 years later. But
I mean, it probably would have been
longer.
It probably would have been the longest. Area boss crushed. Nice.
Yeah.
Not just killed, crushed.
You kind of commented today that, if you hadn't been able to get this video done as quickly as you did, like it kind of would have been bad news because it would have been the longest, I think,
that we've ever gone without a new video.
We have, yeah, because
in a way, I kind of think it was anyways, even by like a day.
Maybe. Like, we've never gone more than roughly 3 weeks.
Right.
And even then we feel bad about it. We try to go no more than roughly 2 weeks. But, it's, like we probably put out the least minutes of content. Like, where has this summer gone? Like, I just feel like we have not...
It's just been really tough, I think, especially like been traveling a whole bunch, and it's just...
Yeah. And like the episodes I've been working on, like, have been very research heavy.
Yes. People are gonna love the Framemeister Alternatives.
That's that delayed gratification, though, right?
Yeah.
I hope it's gonna really good.
It's been tough because I had to record a lot of material for the Game Boy episode, which will probably release in September or October. But I had to get to that stuff because I couldn't hold on to some of those devices forever. And I just had to be thorough and testing out the devices and making sure I understood everything I needed to about them. And same thing with the OSSC and some of this other Framemeister alternative related stuff. And it has been a lot of background work, you know, and the episode itself is going to be, unfortunately, the longest RGB episode.
By a lot. Like 7 minutes or so.
Really? Do
like
we have none? Have none of them broken 30 minutes?
No, this is the first one. I think GameCube was like 28.
Yeah. This is going to be like 35 minutes.
So a regular old TV show then. You know?
Yeah.
People would dig that.
It's crazy. I mean, you know, people don't really complain about that kind of stuff, but I mean, I'm complaining because
you're complaining about making it. It's because it's tough.
Yeah, I want to play some freaking video games.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't had any time for that in a few weeks, so I'm not going to have time for it for another week plus at this rate. So
Isn't that the great irony of starting up a video game YouTube channel? It's like you stop playing video games.
Yep.
Yep.
It's not just us too.
You know, like what Coury did to do this episode, I would consider that playing video games because he, you know, even though he was recording footage, he was, you know, playing a game for real. And you know, but when I'm making an RGB episode, I'm not really playing games for real. I'm playing to get like a specific type of footage or something, like a specific example or a specific clip or something. You know, that's not a game console may be powered on, but I'm not playing.
Yeah, I mean, that's just, you know, it's tough. It's funny because, you know, like I played this, but I played it like 2 months ago. So I didn't. Yeah. It's funny because before that was going to happen, like I had just been traveling a bunch, and my wife and kids were at her parents' like visiting for like the last week, so I was like kind of on my own. So I had, like I was like, oh, I have all this time just to kind of relax. And then I ended up like doing the episode. I was doing it for like Thursday or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and like the entire time pretty much. It's funny how it works out.
So in this episode, the funny thing is it's like over 6 minutes before we get to like the first alternative.
Yeah, there's a lot of
like, I feel like what all the stuff that leads up to that, though, I mean, I feel is good information because I feel like the people who really want to get something out of this video are people who haven't dipped their toe in yet.
Right. And speaking of which, I think that's like a lot of people. For the longest time, we thought that this was going to be a 300 level video, and I think based on
we kept saying this was going to be RGB 305, but we were talking about the other day. We think maybe this should be RGB 105, because it's really, you know, it's not, in a lot of ways, it's not more advanced information. Like if this was only about the OSSC, it would be a 300 level, but a huge bulk of this video, like a little, like almost, not quite, but almost half of this video is kind of the OSSC. It's like the OSSC, and then
it's like
the
featuring the OSC is like what it's going to be.
Right. We're going to have featuring the OSSC in the title for search purposes. But
Jimmy, are you familiar with what the OSSC is?
OSSC, I have no idea. I'm just gonna nod along and pretend like I know what you guys are talking about. I'm like, yeah, of course.
Well, try you want to kind of
techno mumbo jumbo. Yeah. What is that actually? Or should I just wait for the episode?
No.
Search it in.
We'll explain. You know, it's actually funny. Perhaps I can explain it by reading a Twitter message that we got like right as the stream started.
Yeah, I saw that pop up.
The message says, there seemed to be an alternative to the FrameMeister, the open source scan converter. Can you guys look it up and do a video of it, please? Even since I watched your FrameMeister video, I am convinced until people mention the OSSC. And compare the two to see which is better.
Oh, you shouldn't have just like really revealed that. You should have been like, yeah, okay, well, we heard you, and 1 week later, we've got your video just done.
1 week later, we've got this.
we struggled.
This
blood, sweat, and tears for
video.
you.
I literally, like, if I literally had the capacity to not ever get tired and just stay awake constantly, I don't think I could do the entire video from between now and next weekend if I never slept. If I had to start it from scratch right now. I mean, as it is,
quote unquote,
it is going to be tough getting this done between now and next week. It is going to be tough. But but yeah, so the OSSC open source scan converter is a alternative to the FrameMeister in a way that is developed by this one guy in Finland, but he hasn't yet, I believe, but he is at some point going to release the details as open source, and people will be able to tweak it, refine it, release their own versions, work on the firmware, stuff like that. So yeah, but it definitely kind of works differently from the FrameMeister, and the result is different. Pros and cons to each, definitely. It's cheaper, but it's not like cheap either.
Yeah, it's like
200 as opposed to 300 something.
More or less in that ballpark. Yeah, it's like what is it? Is it 200 pounds or is it?
No, it's 150 pounds.
150 British pounds.
Right.
Because the guy who is helping, yeah, the guy who is helping distribute it initially is in Britain. So
okay.
So that's why it costs pounds.
Can we get a spoiler? FrameMeister is better. No, should I not?
It's kind of
go that information out.
It's subjective. I mean, they both have like a has some cool advantages.
Yeah, it's very subjective. I will say this. I will say that the OSSC could get to the point where potentially get to the point where I would prefer it to the FrameMeister, but I don't think it's quite there for me yet. But I really do enjoy using it. It's got a few snags, which hopefully can be improved, if not through firmware, then through new hardware. But with the hardware the way it currently is, it absolutely could suit the needs of a lot of people, especially depending on what kind of screen they're using. And I know I'm being kind of vague, but a lot of that should be explained pretty thoroughly in the video, I think.
I imagine, 30 plus minutes of that. You gotta.
Yeah.
It's gonna be the most. No one ever has to make a FrameMeister alternatives video ever again.
Well, I think
in the future they're gonna look back and be like, they had it all covered.
I mean, probably what I foresee happening is that as the OSSC gets like major updates to it, and like significantly expand the functionality, or quality, or gets new hardware updates or whatever, I do foresee us doing update videos in the 300 series on the OSSC as it evolves, but we kind of need this like one-stop shop. Here are, if all you're looking to get into is just bare bones basic RGB, well, here, maybe this will cut it for you. But if you want something a little more, here's the OSSC, and it is well worth your consideration if you want to spend a little less than a FrameMeister, but it's not exactly like paying $30 either. So
okay. Say, when you guys gonna cash in your Patreon bucks and make a trip out to Japan? Check out the RGB scene out here.
We'd love it. We'd love it.
let me know. There's a place I like in Akihabara whenever I have a chance to go out to Tokyo for business trips. It's called Beep, And that's like, I think I was telling you guys about this before on one of your streams, but they have like a lot of like old PC stuff, like, you know, the Sharp X68000 or whatever, and
Oh, yeah,
about
yeah.
an MSX2 there recently. But they have like a ton of like PVM stuff and like cables for everything, like RGB cables for just all the old PC games and converter units and stuff. Really great, and like the staff is actually friendly, which is kind of hard to find in Japan. They usually just ignore you.
Well, it's cool. I mean,
but
with stuff like
really
that,
cool.
I mean, we want to do videos on those systems eventually. I mean, when we run out of everything else, what are we going to do? Might as well like cover like, you know, like the MSX and the Sharp X68000.
Yeah, we'll visit Japan and do RGB series from Japan.
Yeah. Just go over and take over that little shop. What are these little scrawny shop owners going to do? Muscle you out of their store?
But is that where you get a lot of your stuff from, or not really? I mean, because you always post these amazing pickups on Twitter, like all this cool stuff you always get.
Yeah, you know, I could never eBay because people see those pictures now. They're like, well, he doesn't have any money. Oh, he must be in a tough spot. Oh, wait, he's just buying video games all the time. So, I mean, there's that. But yeah, I don't really go to Akihabara much because even back when I came to Japan in 2006 as a college student, right? And I was in Tokyo. And even then, Akihabara had a great selection, really cool stuff, but it was always super pricey compared to everywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
There are like chain media stores like Book Off, which is where I usually go to.
There's a Book Off in New York. In
New York, right? Yeah. And I know like they kind of charge eBay prices there from what I hear, but Book Off in Japan is like a different beast though. Definitely, you know, if you come out to Japan, anybody out there, hit up Book Off, you know. Some of them are great, some of them might suck, some of them might not even have like old retro stuff if that's what you're looking for. But more often than not, you know, you'll find some really cheap games there.
I mean, what would be your, you know, there's been a lot of talk lately about a lot of the Akihabara stores being kind of picked over at this point. Like, I think the most famous one is Super Potato, if I'm not mistaken. People are saying that it's kind of bare these days.
Well, last year, like in fall, I mean, I had a chance to go a few times to the Akihabara Super Potato. And yeah, it was pretty, like the PC Engine and like the Mega Drive sections in particular were just... It was just like, you know, there was a war zone or something. But, you know, a lot of foreigners, especially like big stores like Super Potato, well-known stores, they kind of get picked a lot. But just in, I don't know, maybe it was March or April, I went back to Super Potato. Everything was stocked. Like, just everything was back. So, I don't know. I think it just kind of goes through like, you know, droughts.
Do you think
by the way, it's Hard Off. I see in the chat, Hard Off is a great store as well.
I thought that maybe that was like a joke or something. So it actually
it is, you know, like Coury, your mom's so ugly she gives me a hard off. Like that would be a good joke, right? No offense to your mother, I'm sorry, but Hard Off, it's like, you know, it's like a Book Off except it sells hardware. So.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. I was gonna say I just actually had a chance to go to a Hard Off a few weeks ago, and I hadn't been since 2011, and it's gonna sound fruity, but I went in there and I heard the theme song playing. It's like Uri kudasai, hado, and like I had so many memories of this store, and like I almost like wanted to cry. I was like, I'm home, you know. It's like that Millennium Falcon scene in the new Star Wars. I'm home.
Is that's really a song that like plays it? That's great. Yeah. Like so many things that have like random places have their own theme songs. It seems like.
It is a theme song heavy country here, you know, mascots and theme songs. It's like you're never gonna run out of those in Japan. Like I would hate to work like in like a convenience store in Japan because, you know, they're just constantly playing the theme songs or whatever. Like, you know, you work like long hours, 10 hours of hearing the same song over and over and over again. You know?
Yeah.
Not to make a crass joke, but you know, it's a good thing there aren't a lot of guns in Japan. You see a lot of
go
the
crazy
Japanese
from the theme music.
But,
so would you say that people in Japan like are kind of aware? Well, I mean, I don't mean people in general, but like you know, game store owners or game collectors in Japan have it seems like it's definitely starting to become well known in the West that, you know, hey, guess what? Some expensive games, I can get the Japanese version for cheaper.
Right.
Are people aware of that trend, widely aware of that trend in Japan, and does that have any effect on prices at all, you think?
I think, like, you know, mom and pop shops not so much, because who's going to come in from France to some store in the middle of, you know, I won't use any sort of colorful language here, but the boonies, you know, watch it's a family channel, right? But no one's going to come in, you know, some guy from France, I want all of your Seire Densetsu lickles, but not. It depends on where you're at. I think Akihabara, maybe some places like that where they get a lot of tourists coming in. I've seen the prices in those stores kind of just explode. It's pretty nuts going to those places and thinking like, well, you know what? I could go on eBay. There's a seller called Yamatoku, and you know he just does like 99-cent auctions. I could get this for way cheaper than here.
Yeah.
But places like Book Off. Some stores, they don't really care. They're just like, oh, okay, there's a big group of like Saturn games, dollar. They don't even care if it's like a mahjong game or, you know, like Parodius or something, right? So it's like, oh, $1 for everything in here. Well, okay, cool. Yeah, but I think a lot of them are starting to kind of catch on, especially with Yahoo Auctions becoming such a big force here in Japan. You know, a few years ago it was a really, you know, it was the eBay of Japan. Yeah. Now it's just like even Book Offs, like a lot of the merchandise in the store, you'll be like, oh sweet, let me check this game out over here. Let's say it's Super Metroid, and you're like, okay, well it's like $40. I don't know if I want to buy that, but then you see on the sticker it's got, this is on Yahoo Auctions right now, and you're like, oh shit, should I just buy it now? You know, if I won't get this chance again. Maybe it's in pristine condition. So yeah, a lot of these stores are actually like the big chains are just going on Yahoo Auctions to kind of.
So you kind of notice, like where I'm at right now in the game is like kind of where the big difficulty spike happens.
Right.
You know, first two levels are pretty all right. Then, you know, with this one, like it took me a long time to kind of figure out how to handle a lot of this level.
Yeah, I've guided this level many times. It's And once you get it though, it's a great kind of satisfying feeling though.
Oh yeah. I mean, so much of the stuff in this game is just like, you know, it's all pattern based. You know, it's just
right. I was gonna say, you know, I was watching your video, and I was thinking like, man, like a lot of the stuff that we said in our videos are quite the same. It was kind of funny how, you know, when you talk about you don't want to have an underpowered weapon, you show this stage with the homing beam, and I was like, hey, I did that in my video too.
Oh,
but we had the
really?
same experience. Yeah, it's like. You don't wanna be underpowered for some of these fights, and it's just like this is the one, right? If you don't have the homing beam charged up, it's a pain.
Would you say that Ruka is probably the overall better character because of her screen attack being more powerful?
I like.
I
find that, I mean, I found that like I just did better with her than I do with the guy.
Axel Sonic.
Yeah.
You gotta feel bad for Ruka. She's just Ruka Headfield, and you got a guy named Axel Sonic.
I know. Well, I mean, I think
Sarkeesian should talk about that. You
know. The reason I think of like Ruka, I think of you know, I'm gonna get caught with it. I don't even power up. Here we go. Not gonna happen.
Oh no!
I should have grabbed that last one. I always think of, you know, the guy from Metallica, James Hetfield.
Yeah. Yeah. If only her name was Lars.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Lars,
you know, the comparison of Axel and Rudy is like super obvious, but really, like Ruka kind of looks like Cecilia a whole lot, like after she cuts her hair.
Right, like halfway through the game, right? Or
I think it was pretty early, if I remember.
Yeah, third of the way, or.
I want to say it was like right when the game. No, I want to say it was like right when the game like really got underway. Like once she decided to leave the kingdom, I think like.
Does she cut her hair before Dagger does in Final Fantasy IX? That's the real question.
Before Dagger does.
Gotcha. Spoilers. These video
Like
game parents
Dagger,
cut off
Dagger
their-
basically cuts her hair like right before disc 4.
Like, I'm not gonna be an annoying little stuck-up princess anymore.
But she changed her name way before that.
Oh yeah. Dagger changes her name about when Cecilia cuts her hair.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
When I remember when that first came up in Final Fantasy IX, I was like, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. And
Of her hair, cutting her hair?
No.
Or changing her name.
Change her name to Dagger.
I know. I was like really, because Garnet is like a great name.
I stared at that name entry screen for a long time, thinking, "Am I okay with this?"
Yeah.
Well, now on, you can just like just change the name to Coury.
Yeah.
Well, she's losing her hair.
Yeah,
This just
right.
makes no sense. She's like, what is this thing called? Okay, I'm going to go by the name of this thing. It's
Yeah.
it just seems like,
Well, thankfully she wasn't holding on to like a hot dog or something at that time. No. What do I change my name to? Oh, Polish dog.
yeah, but I mean, it's like,
Stupidest thing.
Hey, it's Square. You never know.
Yeah.
It's true.
Final Fantasy 15.
but I mean, it's just so like Dagger feels totally natural to call her Dagger now, but at the time it was just like, I don't know if I can go through with this because I don't
Too
typically
much of a commitment for you.
I don't typically change RPG character names, but I have been known like when characters have like real names that you learn later in the game, like Nanaki or Glenn or
All right.
stuff like that. I have been known to, or Nadia. I've been known to sometimes name them their real name on a replay, but I still don't think it makes a lot of sense to do that for Dagger because like she's obviously trying to not go by the name. Well, my favorite part of that was, in Final Fantasy VII, they say, who's Nanaki? And they say, Nanaki's Nanaki.
Right. I was just gonna ask you if there was a section like that where I think I've done the same thing where it's just like, yeah, I've always changed Aerith to Aerith because I was like so hyped on Final Fantasy VII. I had posters of like Aerith and I had a figure of Aerith before I even played the game, so I was like, I ain't dealing with this Aerith crap. But,
See, I'm the exact opposite. I just can't. I'm so I'm super hyped about the whole Final Fantasy VII remake thing, but the thing that's going to be hardest on me is accepting Aerith being spoken out loud, and there's nothing I can do about it. I can't deal with it.
But we all know her name's really Aerith, so.
No. No.
You're a stubborn one, Mr. Travis.
I am. I can usually deal with stuff like that, but that one, no.
Let me ask you this though. Final Fantasy VI, do you still call it Final Fantasy 3?
No.
I still do.
Double standards. Oh, look at Coury. Oh, both. I don't know. I might have to reconsider this friendship here.
I mean, that's
No,
what I've always known it as. So.
Well, you were into it
Same here.
longer ago than I was, though. I was into it before the PlayStation port, but I was aware of it before Final Fantasy VII, but I didn't really care for it until because I wasn't into RPGs yet, and then I kind of revisited them and I was like, okay, I like this whole RPG thing. But I had already, definitely played at least some of Final Fantasy VII, and I knew the whole, misnumbered thing, and I was like, oh, okay. So it's really Final Fantasy VI, so I started calling it Final Fantasy VI. I definitely always call it Final Fantasy VI, but, yeah.
Could have been like I remember back in the old days when people started finding out about the whole Final Fantasy VI thing, and there were a lot of snobs, kind of like those guys who I had never listened to a dub, subs for life. If you said oh yeah, I have a lot of great games like Final Fantasy 3, it's Final Fantasy 6.
Yeah, did you know?
You pleb.
No,
Say it right.
I've honestly just, like it was new to me when it was released as that. So, I mean, I would call like the real Final Fantasy 3, like Final Fantasy 3J. That's how I'd refer to it as. Whatever, like that's just.
Well,
what
it's
it
like,
was.
a lot of, if you want to go really hardcore and be like, I don't call that Castlevania, it's Akuma Joe Dracula. Or Dracula, if you want to be really.
Okay, that's
that would
going
be
a little too far.
I guess I can forgive you guys. You guys aren't taking it that far with your heiresses and Final Fantasy 3s.
Yeah, that's. But I mean, like Final Fantasy 6. I mean, it just makes sense to call it that because now like the whole series is out here, and
Yeah.
So I don't like Final Fantasy 3. I don't like Final Fantasy 2.
Oh, you mean 4 too, or?
No, I like 4. I like 4 2.
Okay.
No, wait. Unless by 4 2 you mean the after years, by which I don't like.
I own that, but I've not played it. I kind of heard it was a little like after years was an afterthought.
Yeah, it like at first it's just kind of there. It's not great, but it's tolerable. But then it's like the last half of the game is the final dungeon basically, and it's so ridiculous and annoying, and it's like it's just like an excuse to like have you fight like other Final Fantasy series bosses, and it's just kind of dumb, I think.
Well, the only thing that's gonna sway me in one way is whether or not Ultros makes an appearance. If he does not, then yeah, screw that.
He probably makes an appearance. He's in Final Fantasy 14. I haven't fought him in Final Fantasy 14 yet, but he isn't. I've seen Mr. Chupon at any rate.
Oh, that's nice. You always gotta love a monster who has a face on his ass, So creepy.
I forgot how to even beat this mini boss here.
Oh yeah, that boss is a pain. But after you fight that boss, I think this level gets even more annoying.
See, I think that the rest of this is like the hardest. It's the only one I don't remember how to beat. The rest are not too bad, I don't think.
Well, if you get frustrated, we'll put in those level select codes.
Yeah.
And then you can get even more frustrated on level 5.
Yeah. So did you have the same issue as I did with that, where it's just like so long to that shooter level?
I've not played that shooter level probably since I was in in like high school. But I remember getting really frustrated, and I think I've actually beaten this game, but it was one of those like 4 a.m. in the morning things, so I barely remember it. But yeah, I remember that level is quite frustrating. You would think it would be like super like, if you play any sort of shoot 'em up type games, it'd be a piece of cake, but just because it's so long, right?
Yeah, I mean that's the only problem with it, because the other ones are very good with their checkpoints, and then that one it's just such like a slow moving and long level that by the time you get to the boss, you can only do it so many times in one sitting, I guess. There's only so many attempts you can make before you just like get sick of it.
So Coury, what was your first import game?
I think we talked about this. Didn't we talk about this the other day? Or did I talk to somebody about it the other day? The first import game I ever bought was X-Men vs. Street Fighter on the Saturn.
I don't think we talked about that. Like, so did you buy it back in the Saturn's day?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I bought it along with coincidentally enough, the Wild Arms soundtrack.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
I was gonna say I have an extra soundtrack if you wanted it, but
Well, no. Actually, like I'm interested in it because like somehow my brother ended up with that soundtrack, and I no longer have it.
Okay. Well, he was just at your place, wasn't he? Did you?
Yeah, but he's like
grab him by the arm, twist it a little bit, and tell him to give back your Wild Arms soundtrack. You need that whistling soundtrack in my life.
Yeah, the saddest thing about that soundtrack is it does not have because the U.S. version has like an exclusive ending music.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, it's really good. I can't. I've looked for it on YouTube, and I haven't found like a good quality music track of that.
I don't think it exists. I wonder if somebody can like, they can probably rip it from the disc.
Yeah, I lost my Wild Arms save file, so I can't just go back and get it easily.
Well, you probably put a disc in, and there's that old program that you could use to like rip.
Oh
like,
yeah, because
video.
I want to say the whole that whole section is pre-rendered, so it's probably just attached to a movie.
Right.
That's funny. I didn't know about that, about the Wild Arms. Like the Wild Arms 2 soundtrack. I have that as well, and like you guys have played Wild Arms 2, right?
I have.
Yeah, I played through like half of it. The English translation is so bad that I just couldn't handle it after a while.
I was just say,
and I'm like,
my friend Super Derek did a video on that.
It was about 2 years ago I played it.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I like the music a lot in that game, and I especially like the intro, the little animated intros. They kind of They got a little bit of like I guess horns or trumpets or something.
And each disc has its own intro with a different theme song, and you hear that like another version of that song like in the game. And I want to say that like the track from disc 2, like you don't actually hear that during the gameplay. Unless I can't remember off the top of my head how it went. Is that one of the games that had a different battle track for disc 1 and 2?
Perhaps, I can't remember. Yeah. I was just gonna say though,
yeah, Super Derek.
Maybe 3 years ago, I played it.
Did a video on it.
Yeah.
You were saying, Jimmy, I heard you saying that Super Derek did a video. He's like, Super Derek has like reviewed like so many RPGs. I have no idea how he finds the time to like play through all these RPGs.
Yeah, I think a lot of people
lack of a life.
I think a lot of people assume that that we don't like RPGs, but it's just that like we just don't have time like to do videos on them.
Same here. I get people like ask like, oh, can you do this and that? And like, I'd love to, but it's like 60 plus hours. That I honestly, to be honest, I think we can all find time, but it's like, do you want to? Do you want to really spend 60 hours capping? But then you got to find a hard drive that is going to fit everything.
Right.
So,
I know that Game Dave had a problem with that, where he has like a ridiculous amount of Suikoden footage because he did like 100% finished it for his.
And he refuses to delete anything.
Yeah, it's like he has his own like hard drive, like a terabyte of footage or something like that. He said.
Just for the Suikoden stuff.
Just for the first game.
Dang. You didn't even use a FrameMeister, I'm sure,
He didn't have one at the time, I think. He played it on PS3, I think, is where he captured it from.
Yeah. I think he's going to do 2 with a FrameMeister, though.
Yeah, I think he's doing that for...
He's working on that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if he started his playthrough or not, but... I know he was planning to get that done this summer, but man, I don't know. There's not a lot of summer left.
I know.
I'll just issue this out here. I don't know if Game Dave is ever gonna listen to this, but unless he does the Clive mini quest, and he's a schmuck, you can't take his word for anything. he's got nothing. He doesn't even deserve to talk about Suikoden 2 if he doesn't do the Clive mini quest. So keep that in mind, Dave. Which you're not gonna ever hear this.
You never know. I bet you he might even be here.
I'm sure he will. On
this might even be in the background in his in the Game Dave cave right now.
Could be. In that case, I'm sorry, Dave. Please. I was just joking. Blame it on the booze.
No. Dave has more or less convinced me to switch over to saying Suikoden instead of Suikoden. Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, Suikoden is the way to do it. I used to have, kids in my school though used to call it like Shokoden. So you're doing better, even if you say Suikoden.
I'm doing better than Japanese
Still doing better.
Kids.
Okay. Filipino kids. So,
okay.
I don't know if you've been to Hawaii, but yeah.
I don't know how to
but
avoid
probably
that.
better than Japanese kids in Hawaii. So.
How do I avoid that?
I think I originally said Suikoden.
Yeah, I did too. Let's see if we can.
If you're gonna be like really like like I gotta say Genso Suikuren, you
Yeah,
gotta be
right.
really. I refuse to just use it by that American name.
Save my bombs. That's always like the cheap way out of it. Save those.
Yeah,
bombs.
well, if you want 9 bombs, apparently there's a code for it.
Yeah, I know.
Just cheese.
I would have like showed some footage of like the last boss fight, but the only way I could get like footage from the ending was to use the invincibility code, like in time, and I was like, I really don't like to show footage of things where it's like really obvious that I'm cheating to get the footage. And in this game, when you put on the invincibility, your character like flashes on and off like really fast. So I can't.
I didn't know that. Okay.
So I couldn't use any of that.
So
You can't mask the shame.
Right.
of
You
not putting
didn't.
it in the
You didn't see me and Drum playing Target Earth at the beginning of the stream last week, did you, Coury? On the backloggery?
I saw some of it.
But you didn't see the beginning. So what happened in the beginning? Just talking about cheating. The guy who had us play it, his rules were he wanted us to play on the hardest difficulty, but we were able to use the extra infinite continues code.
Right.
And which is kind of a weird code. Like you have to have like 2 continues left, and then you go into the options menu and just hit the start button.
Mm-hmm.
You get 9 continues. But there's also supposed to be a code for a sort of 2-player mode. And like when the first enemy robot appears on screen, like you hit the start button on controller 2, and supposedly you can control the other enemy robot, but it still dies in one shot. I didn't really, I don't know, it was kind of, we weren't all that convinced it was working that well. Like Drum said, it might be kind of like, your older brother saying you can control the duck in Duck Hunt. And you're like,
right.
Am I? Maybe I am. I'm not sure. But the funny thing is, we we're charged through the first level, the second level, and we're like, man, we're doing pretty good. And like we thought, like we were like surviving on the last tiny bit of health for like a really long time. And because like if we like get to 0, we're like, oh no, we're about to die, and then like it recover just a little bit. And we're like, oh, there must be some sort of like energy recovery mechanic.
Oh, so you were
here.
using the invincibility.
It turns out that hitting start on
Yep.
controller 2 just makes you invincible forever.
I know. I can tell you a little story about that if you want.
We had no idea. We played through 3 levels without realizing that we were invincible. We just thought we were getting really lucky.
It was just to build up your self-esteem. Made by the baby boomer generation, that game.
What's funny is that, so when Target Earth came out, my friend had it. And it was, it's ridiculously hard. And we had a very similar thing happen where we were just kind of, I must have had a second controller plugged in for some reason. And one of us sat on the controller and we never died, and we had no idea what it was. And we were like, are we invincible? Did we discover a code for this game? And we like worked it out that it was like, as long as we knew to hit start on the second controller, whatever we did was what the code was going to be, because we could put in any kind of like combination of buttons and be like, hit start. And then like, oh, that's what it is. We like, we thought about like, what do we do? So anyways, like we thought it was like some like hold C, it's funny because I guarantee you that I have it in, I guarantee you I have it written down inside the magazine, the fanzine that my friend and I did, that I should go get it and see if I have it written in there. Because we like sent it in the magazines. And it was like hold down C, press A 5 times, and then press start on the controller 2. So as long as we were pressing start, the thing was gonna it was gonna be whatever we said.
It's
Do you want me to go see if I
hilarious.
can find the magazine?
that
Give
would
me
be-
1 second.
Yeah.
It's like,
And then-
it's so silly though. Like, who makes a code press start? It's so ridiculous. Coury got really excited to do
He's
that.
like, yeah, check this out.
Right away. But I'm looking at this pause screen. It's kind of funny. Like, I feel like that blurred background is very atypical of PS1 style.
All right, guys, here we go. It's gonna be something a little different.
Coury has wanted to do his fan magazine.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a little
Thing.
Patreon video of me going through them. All right, can I just go back to full screen for a minute?
Yeah.
All right, let me turn on the game audio. We'll pick it up in a minute.
Corey's excited about this, people.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited about it.
Look out.
All right, so in 1990, my friend Eric and I made a fanzine called Game Masters.
And
Game
weren't
Masters.
Because you figured out the target Earth code.
Yeah. So, anyways, it's like we did it on
off
like
the
his big
presses,
sister's
yeah.
like word processor. It's just very. I love this though. It says, "Game Master erupts with 7 pages of Sega excitement," and it has a volcano with rocks flying out of it that says, "New releases, awesome hints and tips, Golden Axe, and Target Earth."
Oh, that's beautiful.
See if we can- Anyways, okay. Let's see if we can find the. All right,
So
so
any way to delay the RGB episode a little bit more so you can do one on this?
yeah. Okay, so the stupidest thing about this is that it's like, 1990. We somehow got permission to sell it in my grade school library, and it's 7 pages, and we
So you
charged
printed multiple
$1
copies
for
of-
it. To like school kids, $1 for 7 pages.
And how well did it sell?
I think we made it sold like two of them maybe. All right, here it is. Target Earth Invincibility. On controller 1, press and hold all 3 buttons, while on controller 2, press start rapidly. Do this whenever you want to.
And you never just tried start by itself. But who would think to do like why
Right.
would it be so simple,
Right. But I mean,
Why would it be
hold
so
all 3
simple?
buttons and press start on controller 2 rapidly. Yeah, I'm gonna do I was thinking about doing a thing for like patrons of just kind of reading some of my reviews. What are we reviewing this? Revenge of
Wade Board
Shinobi.
says, I'd buy that for $1.
Yeah.
Like you're in that generation just before GeoCities when everybody was doing their fanzines on Yahoo.
Yep.
That's awesome though. You still have it too. That's great.
I know. Hang on, there's 2 issues.
Oh snap.
There's then the second issue has a green cover,
Ooh.
and this one
upgrade.
has Sega versus Nintendo is the cover story,
Ooh.
and it's
Consoles.
yeah, it's. I bet you that is a unbiased argument in here, because first issue is completely Sega focused. So, and this one is, how many pages is this one? This one's a lot bigger than the first one, but not by a lot. This one is 10 pages. Oh, look at this! It also we reprinted the. At this point, we knew that it was just press start, but we still printed the Target Earth hint
You gotta
again.
double down. We're not wrong. You're wrong.
And there's
It's
also
like a
another
real
Target Earth.
journalist, you know.
Yeah, it's and there's also on the title screen says controller. When the title screen says continues to, go to the option and press start, and your continues will go up to 9. Is that what it is?
We screwed up because the code on Game. I wish we'd read Game Masters, because on Game Facts it said when your continues are below 3, go to the options menu and hit start. Well, we accidentally continued when we had 2 left, and when it got to 1 left, it didn't work. So we didn't finish.
Ah.
It was a bummer.
Well, this one is... I'll have to go through this. Like, there's a lot of things, like a lot of games that never got released that we, like, talked about just because we read, like, previews in different magazines. But Sega versus Nintendo, which is better? You want me to read the conclusion? I did not write this one. If you're still not sure which company is right for you, here's my opinion.
Oh, dear.
All right. If you want hundreds of games and accessories for your system that are usually only average, then pick Nintendo.
Usually only average.
I can't do it.
If you like average stuff, go for Nintendo. If you like great stuff, go for Sega.
If you only want a few excellent games and accessories for your system, pick Sega because there's a growing number of titles that are too good to shy away from.
Shy away.
Yeah.
Is that like the complete opposite argument? You know, back in the Nintendo's like, we don't have a lot of games, but they got a few excellent titles in there. If you want mediocrity, buy a PlayStation.
Yeah, exactly.
Buy a Sega. So you spend it on them.
As a little bonus, some friends created a competing magazine, and I have the first and only issue of that of let's see, sorry, it's hard to see. Secrets for Your Nintendo. That's the name of it.
Oh man.
Let's see if I can get a little closer here.
Secrets for Your Nintendo. It sucks to get a Sega.
Well, no, they were
the Nintendo fanboys, huh?
Yeah. And each issue of this had a they colored it with crayons on the cover.
Whoa!
I wonder how long that took them. And they talked about Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, Castlevania 3. Oh, there's a good, pretty sweet Game Boy drawing in here. But they're not covering hard-hitting topics like Sega versus Nintendo in February 1991.
Wow.
Well,
that was
versus
pretty,
Bush
you were hitting that topic pretty early. That was relevant.
Well, we're Master System kids. We had the Genesis
indoctrinated early.
Yeah.
At a young age.
All right, back to
That's
the game.
good. Well, I've never seen a better advertisement for your Patreon.
Yeah,
you become a $5 patron, you get reprints of Game Masters magazine, the one, the only, well, the two of the only.
the only.
Full high-resolution scans in PDF form, or we'll send it to you in the mail for $1.
Maybe I will do a dramatic reading for patrons.
Oh, that'd be great.
You should.
I would be way into it.
And try. You can go over there and be the Nintendo fanboy magazine and redo your reading of the rivals.
I do not know how to do this.
Warm the heart.
How do I avoid this attack? I don't even know.
I think something happened with the framing of your webcam on this scene because it's.
I might be just sitting different.
No, but it's your Coury name tag is too high.
Oh, well, it's all right. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter for right now. I'm not going to mess with it. So yeah, Game Masters magazine. I'm glad. I never thought about just I'll bring it out on the stream. People will love that. Ugh, come on.
People never know what they're going to get on our stream.
Yeah.
You never know.
Box of chocolates.
You get a tease at something Corey's going to do on Patreon.
We've actually I know we've talked about our Patreon a little bit lately. We did kind of a cool. You had Game Dave on you did a video for Patreon with Game Dave.
So we might have talked about this during the stream last week. Probably did. Game Dave went on vacation in South Carolina, and swung by here on his way so he could pick up his PVM we grabbed for him. And we checked out the geometry on his PVM before he left.
And it turned out he got the best one or something, right?
He got like probably the best one. Like the geometry is basically perfect. It's crazy. I'm a little jealous. Then we like played around with the geometry a little bit more on my PVM. But yeah, we like don't think of it by any means as a replacement for our real geometry episode. But we did shoot a little vlog, going through the geometry on our screens and just sort of playing with it a little bit. But I don't know that much about tweaking geometry, and so I'm sure I could have done better on mine, but yeah, I need to learn a little bit from Coury on that, and
just even for the few minutes we were even going over it when I was there.
Yeah, well, but you're going to be obviously doing more research on that. Like that, that's another thing that we'd hope to get to this summer, and it's just like, man, the summer has gone so fast.
I'm prioritizing it for, it's like, I think we were talking yesterday, I was going to do it for September. I'm going to do it next month. Just got to do it. Just got to do it so I can get to like some other good stuff. Man, I don't understand how to avoid this attack. Like, I don't know if it's impossible to avoid it.
The little fire on the edge?
Yeah, I mean, it chases me back and forth.
Jumping doesn't help out, right?
No.
Like at the very edge. Doing the little like dash thing doesn't it's not like Dark Souls where it gives you invincibility frames, right? So
I wonder.
It's been a while since I played it, so I can't remember if it's something I could even dodge.
I mean, there's got to be a way to dodge it. Blabler says I should jump at the very end, so let's see if that works.
Yeah, I was thinking that at the very end of the screen, right before it hits you. But we'll see.
Right, because it's at a backwards angle, kind of, isn't it?
Hmm.
So, that would make sense. Let's see if it works.
I saw the importer say geometry, the sole reason I went with the XRGB Mini, and I was actually thinking about that the other day. Like, that is, for all the arguments that, you should only use a CRT, that is like probably the biggest upgrade that you could have. Like, that's probably the biggest selling point. Like, that's a legitimate, like, here is a way that a scaler can be better than a CRT, like, pretty much objectively. Like, I don't think anyone is going to say that the flaws in your geometry is all part of the experience,
Mm-hmm.
Flaws in your geometry? That's a terrible insult. So is that what all the girls told you growing up? Is that why we're here on the stream? Because girls talked about our flawed geometry. I wish I knew like half of what you guys are talking about when it comes to these PVMs.
But the professional. I mean, I'm sure you've seen like the.
I know. I've seen what you guys talked about. With your own episodes and how you guys are pimping those PVMs all the time. It's like, I wish I could just stumble upon something like that.
You never know. I mean, maybe you will.
I think Japan was a very early adopter of like get rid of anything that's not a flat LCD type of screen. They were very, very early in that, and people tend to just buy up all the latest technology as soon as they can. And TVs are expensive here, so I don't know.
Really?
I did find PVM. I think that store I was talking to you guys about, Beep, they sell stuff there, but it's still like several $100s plus. So.
All right, here we go. This is the time.
This is it. Moment of truth.
Well, no,
Well, it's almost dead. You guys know much about like these other microscom?
Oh,
I guess
they're
upscalers?
just like what or other things that they've done.
Yeah, like I see like that some stores they have several types, and I've
Oh.
never really looked into them.
Right, like
Other
the
than
like
the-
the XRGB.
XRGB3 and XPC4.
Yes, those.
Yeah,
those are-
I mean, from everything we understand, like, the FrameMeister is definitely the one to get. XPC4, I think I heard, is, like, really good for, like, some of the weird, like, PC systems, I think.
Okay,
like,
I guess it makes sense.
I don't know that much about it. And I could be remembering wrong on what I heard it was good for. I think it's good for like those old PC style systems. XRGB3 is really outdated by the OSSC more than it is by the FrameMeister.
That's was kind of a big revelation for us, I guess, when we were writing the script and doing research. Is how similar the OSSC is to the XRGB. Like the XRGB
2
3
and 3. I don't know that much about the 3. I think it's both a line doubler and a scaler. I don't know that much about the 3. I hear that it can be fiddly. The OSSC can be fiddly too. Like a big part of the appeal of the FrameMeister is it's so widely compatible with like everything.
Right.
No, you don't have to worry about compatibility issues, pretty much. So like that's crazy to hear you talk about. Like, do you like just see FrameMeisters in stores?
Well, here's the thing. My big plan was, so I'm gonna be the 300th person to say this, but thank you for pushing me over that edge, unwillingly. But through your excellent content, I went out and bought a FrameMeister. Final thing was like watching your series. I haven't really used it much for my own channel, but it's been fun seeing Sega games that don't look blurry and terrible on my TV for the first time. But no, I don't see FrameMeisters here ever, because that was my big plan. I was like, I'm just gonna go to an electronics store and pick one up. But I went to 10 plus electronics stores in my area. They don't have that. They don't have any of that stuff.
You think they sell it in Tokyo?
That one store in Akihabara is like where this is the only place I've actually seen them, and they have like different versions and a lot of different cool RGB cables. Like I said, like there's this guy here in Japan that I guess he's kind of like well known for making cables. Probably kind of like that retro game accessories.
Yeah.
But he made those Dreamcast RGB cables, but they kind of just use the VGA kind of setup for it, and playing around with it, it looks great, for what it is. I remember using the VGA box on Dreamcast back in the day on a monitor. I don't think it looks quite as good as that on my TV, but better than S-Video.
Yeah,
slightly.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, so that store that does have them, like, do they just have like stacks and stacks of them, or is it just they go in the back and get them?
They have like a little like counter, like display case in the beginning of the front of the store, and it's just like all lit up and glorious and shiny. And you see all these cables for like Neo Geo, all these PCs, and like
Do they have a theme song playing?
They don't have a theme song, unfortunately, but I'm singing one in my head, like score, score, score. I wish I had more money. Time to become a whore.
That sounds like the ultimate Patreon vlog. Me and Coury going to this store that actually sells FrameMeisters.
Right? That'd be like
we can Periscope live from Japan.
Yeah. You could turn it into like a really like dramatic. This is like the mecca of the RGB series. We've gone to the store. We've gone to the Holy Land. You guys can break down in front of the counter. Maybe I can film it. Film you guys crying in front of the thing, and the store owner just like, what the hell? Damn, Gaijin again? This is the third YouTube channel to do this crap this month. Absolutely no Gaijin allowed on the sign over there. But
we do wonder, like, a lot of times, like, if MyComSoft is like at all aware of us.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like they gotta be, because like we're like our video was posted on the Solaris Japan page for it.
Wow. Okay.
And Solaris
Works for them. They've done stuff for them. Yeah.
right, like they're like, I think they're kind of somewhat affiliated, and I heard that,
This is what I'm
they're
gonna do.
responsible for like
I'm gonna kill
the
it first form as
majority
fast
of
as I can.
Microsoft's sales outside Japan. So like they've got to be aware of this. To some
You
extent.
have to start getting that kickbacks, those kickbacks, because you guys have probably sold more Frame Meisters than Solaris ever did to your channel.
Oh, you never
Sure.
Well,
know.
most people probably bought them from Solaris because that's where we got ours, and
Yeah.
that's like
Okay.
the only place we really know to direct people to find it at.
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
you
other
can get them
than,
on Amazon.
eBay.
I mean, there's Amazon sellers now that sell it, and I think that
Yeah.
you can even get it like with Amazon Prime.
I think the Solaris price can often be better because just depending on dollar versus yen, I think it fluctuates more often, which at times is in your favor.
Right.
How much do they sell the Frame Meisters now? Because I was gonna say I ended up having to buy mine on Amazon Japan,
Mm-hmm.
and it was with like the yen conversion, it was probably like 300-ish, so not much better than what it's going for now, I'd imagine.
I mean, I think I've maybe seen it at
Yeah,
one point dip just below 300, maybe, but
Okay.
it's usually a good bit over 300. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe
it
not quite
directly
350,
like
but-
it depends on how much it sells for, like the exchange.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
All right. So here's my new plan: is I'm just going to go in and kill this first form before I like don't spend so much time in life, because I think I can do the second form a lot easier.
Have you
Okay.
not beaten this boss yet, like at all?
Oh no, I have.
Oh, okay. Are you using Infinite Continues code?
No, there's infinite. Like the game does have infinite continues.
Ah.
That's the one saving grace. This game would be pretty tough if not.
Okay, for some reason I was definitely under the impression that it did not have Infinite Continues.
No, it does.
Well, now
Imagine- no.
now I'm much less scared of the fact that I bought it.
That's good. Well, once you start getting frustrated, like just know there are level select codes. Like, yeah, all right, beat that one, level 4 boss.
There we go.
Well, this is the mid boss too, so.
Dead.
Well,
I mean,
I
I
mean,
should
at
have done that in the first place.
I feel
Really.
like the
Yeah.
level select code is Oh wait, so you're just sliding under it as it shoots the fire? Or you're
Yeah.
sliding with the fire?
Yeah, that was my for the second in using like the homing attack.
I know I can be looking at this stream
But you're
on
not.
Skype, but I keep. Ooh, I just got a notification from eBay. I heard it on my phone. Let's see. It says shipped, free ship, used Gunner's Heaven. There we go.
Is it complete?
It-
I mean,
Just
probably.
shipped? Oh yeah, it's complete. It's actually the copy I ordered was located in Thailand.
Really?
Okay.
But I mean, it looks just like the others. So it looked.
What
looked
you
like it
what
was
you
a good
actually
ship.
ordered is like a Thai drama VCD about a undercover cop from Japan.
See,
finds
I don't
romance
really
and
know
danger.
what like
Thailand.
the distribution and import situation is, and Asia as a whole. Because I remember I ordered, I think it was one of the Goemon PS1 games. The best deal I saw was from I forget, Singapore or something. I was like kind of paranoid that like it might be like a pirate copy. I don't know what
Well,
the piracy
here's a
situation on PlayStation is.
Interesting
but-
thing about like PlayStation 1 games, like back in the day, there were like Asian versions of PS1 games. I don't know if you've looked into that, and they often had like
Not
English
really.
and Chinese manuals.
Well,
That's
well,
kind of a
it's
thing
kind of-
now, but I mean, it's
yeah,
more
kind of a
like
thing now.
text in the game.
Yeah, back in like those days though, like PS1, they would have like for example, I think I had an Asian version of Airgites,
Mhm.
and so like the square fighting game, right, for PS1.
Right.
And so I imported that before it came out in the States because, we talked about Final Fantasy. We're all Final Fantasy nerds here.
It's got Cloud in it.
Got Cloud,
And
you
you
got
play Sephiroth.
with this Masamune, No one's going to mess with me with my Masamune, all those jocks at school, getting air guys. But I had to get it early, so I bought that, and it was like $20 or something used, so it was like a really good deal. But then they had the Japanese one, which was just like all the complete Japanese version, and they had the Asian one. I was like, well, what's the difference? Nothing. It just came with Chinese and English instructions, but the game was all in Japanese. So most of those PS1 games that were Asian releases, they just had like extra manuals, but it was, and it would say on the back, I think, Asian version, but it would just be the Japanese game without translations.
Yeah, I mean, I forget which game. I mean, I could go back on eBay and I mean, maybe I'll check now which one that was. I'm pretty sure it was one of the Goemon, because I got all of the Goemon PS1 games. I haven't played through them yet. I'm definitely going to do video on them.
Jimmy's a huge Goemon fan. Huge.
Yeah.
Like
Actually,
probably the biggest one I've...
dropping a Goemon video tomorrow if I finish editing today.
Really?
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, so
That's,
I hope
that's
you...
really quick after your last one.
Secret.
Oh, it's a secret? Which one?
This one's gonna, it's gonna be probably something that nobody really ever talks about.
Well, see, like,
but I do have a collection thing in it, so.
Like, I'm planning to do like the whole, like, not the whole series, but I'm planning to do like, I'm going to start with an N64 video because that's where I was introduced to it, and then I'm going to do the Super Nintendo, Super Famicom video. Then I'm going to do a PlayStation video. I don't know if I'm going to do... I've got all the games that I need to do all of those videos. I just need to get to it. I was going to do the N64 one much earlier this year, but I just haven't had time because then we keep having these technical episodes that we keep promising are going to get out, and, certain ones become priorities because, we want to talk about something when it's relevant or, a new mod or whatever. But so I keep putting off these fun game episodes, but I'm definitely sometime going to start going down the whole not the whole Goemon series because it's huge. But breaking down certain systems, mainly N64, Super Nintendo, and PlayStation. Those seem to be the most interesting. But for Famicom, I've got the second Famicom game, which I heard was a lot better than the first. I haven't played the first one.
Right.
And the second one has a fan translation. So
okay.
That was, as far as I have found, I haven't looked in maybe a year, but at least as of like a year ago, that was the only Goemon game that had a fan translation at all, which is crazy because it's a great series. I don't understand why. I don't understand why there wouldn't be more translations. Because the second Super Famicom game is totally playable without understanding anything. All you have to know is whether left option or right option to save at the end. But the third and fourth games, I was surprised the fourth game.
Third one you need to know a little bit to
Yeah,
progress.
I had a friend help me get through that one, but the fourth one I thought was going to be a lot more straightforward, but it has a lot of side quests and NPCs that you have to talk to and a lot of event design. So that surprised me. But the second one on Famicom does have a fan translation. And I would love, I keep avoiding the RPGs. There's 2 RPGs on Game Boy. There's 2 RPGs on Famicom. I want to play them, but they don't have fan translations.
I might do a video on the Goemon Gaiden games on the Famicom. But yeah, it's kind of weird how like a lot of kind of unusual games get fan translations. Like I was shocked that this game called Eien no Philena, I think it's called Eternal Philena is by the English translation for it, but that has a fan translation. It's like, who the hell translated this game? All right, good that more people can play it. But yeah, there's a lot of games that have fan translations, but I'm very surprised that the Goemon series basically never got that love.
It's crazy.
I was gonna say I just was playing Ganbare Goemon 4 yesterday because I was recording some footage for it, but I hadn't played it in such a long time. But yeah, I was kind of surprised. Like even in the beginning, it's like you have to talk to that tanuki and then like answer a certain way. And like if you answer like, oh, I love you and blah blah blah, like you're not gonna be able to progress. You have to like basically uncover that this person's not Omi-chan, Goemon's kind of sort of girlfriend. All you have to discover is the tanuki and kind of trick it. I was like, oh, that was like a little bit more than I remember. But 3 is the one on Super Famicom that I think you need to definitely know what the hell you're doing.
Yeah, it was.
You had somebody
tough,
like with you on stream when you streamed it. You had somebody.
Yeah, I streamed it. I had someone who knew Japanese help me get through the game.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, I have no idea really what to expect of the PlayStation games. Like, I know that. Okay, so I just looked it up. I think this one. Okay, it looks like this seller is located in Beijing. Retro Collectors Royal Kingdom.
Okay.
And this one was. Was this? This was 2 games. Just says PS1 Gunberry. I can't check the listing anymore, or can I? I don't think
was
I
it
Oedo
Daikaiten or was it?
This one just says PS1 Gunberry Goemon Plus Goemon Shin Sedai Shumei.
Shin Sedai Shumei. Yeah, that's that remake one, right? So.
Is that the? Well, it's sort of. It's like it's very
Reboot.
Heavily based on Goemon 2 on the Super Famicom, but it's like. The bad guy is like the king of the evil king of recycling.
That's Oedo Daikaiten. Yeah, that's actually probably gonna be the next video I was gonna do.
You guys should do it together. Do one together.
Yeah, if it's a thing it's open.
Yeah.
I already have my jokes for that.
You already have your jokes.
No one's gonna laugh at because
Shin Sedai.
Down,
Shin Sedai is the the super anime style.
Right. Shin Sedai. It's a good game, but man, those character designs are just like, what are all the kids into these days? Oh, generic spiky anime guy.
Yeah.
All right, Goemon's ancestor is now this little short. He wears shorts. Come on, get out of here.
So
no
I just discovered the other day that because I imported, like I found on eBay, like I was really only looking for for Resident Evil Gun Survivor because I bought the US version like 3 weeks ago, and then someone said, I'm wondering why you bought that version because it doesn't have GunCon support, and I'm like, dang it, I didn't know that. Or if I did know it, I forgot. So I went to eBay looking for the Japanese version. So I'm gonna play it with a GunCon, dang it. And I found this auction that had all of the PS1 Biohazard games for $15 and like $16 shipping. So
that's a great deal.
And they're all in like really good shape. So
if it's coming from Japan, that's pretty common. You're not gonna get too many of those moldy instruction manuals.
Yeah, and and it's like cool because like the Resident Evil 1 manual has like character art and stuff that I've never seen before. So it's like it's awesome. Yeah. But yeah, I couldn't believe I paid like $32 to get all of the whole Biohazard PS1 set. For
That's
1, 2,
sweet.
3 Gun Survivor, it was awesome.
I was gonna say because like that Gun Survivor game here in Japan, it's like $1 game at Book Off, but it's like DualShock 2 is like $10. Regular standard version's like $2. But yeah, I think you made out.
To be
with
honest,
the
I'm not entirely sure which version of Biohazard 1 it is, but regardless,
you have
like,
the DualShock Director's Edition for Biohazard 1.
It's big. What I'm hoping. I don't know the details. I haven't put it in yet. The game's in yet. I don't know the details of like which version has which intro, but I'm hoping that I've got the version of the intro where Chris actually smokes. Because that's like.
It's like, well, why even bother?
Why even bother unless Chris is smoking?
That's all I care about.
Well, I mean,
10 out of 10 if he smokes, 0 out of 10 if he doesn't.
I just think it's hilarious.
Great, yeah. Love that corny intro.
But I brought up that whole thing because I was organizing my Japanese PS1 games the other day, and I've only been getting Japanese PS1 games for like a little over a year now, and I only just noticed that if you put them on your shelf backwards, that
most of them have the English, right?
Most of them have English writing on the opposite side. So I'm like,
so if you can get past that OCD
this.
of having it, like facing the right way, then it's okay.
Yeah, but I'm like,
Gunner 7 actually has it facing the right way, like the English text is facing the right way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I think a lot of Saturn games do the same thing as well.
Right,
so I'm sure you know that at this point, though.
Yeah, the only one that I have that doesn't do that is the first Goemon.
Kaizo Yakugingu. Yeah.
Yeah, what you said. But so I know that this one, the super anime one, the Shin Sadai Shumei. I know that this was for sure, like the other one just says Ganbare Goemon, which I am assuming is probably this one. I just don't remember. Like, cause this one's hard to get. The very anime one, it's like $50 minimum.
I was gonna say, even in Japan, like for the prices here, it's usually like 20-ish bucks.
Yeah,
like all the Goemon minus Kurinara Koi and Akogingu, the Uchu Kaizoku Akogingu, they're kind of a little bit pricey. Like the Recycle one, Oedo Daikaiten, that's I had to actually buy that one here.
This is probably the one. That's probably the one I'm looking forward to playing most, because I think that if it's as similar to the Super Famicom one as it's supposed to be, like
it is basically like the first level or first area is like, hey, I remember all this from Ganbare Goemon 2 on Super Famicom. Even the boss is Kabuki, Cyber Kabuki maybe. So it's like, hey, it's the same boss fight, and then you gotta fight the little impact battle. All the music too is basically, you played Goemon's Great Adventure for N64.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All the music I think is pretty much completely lifted from that game. So it's good music. Yeah. But it's very fitting that the theme is recycling, when it recycles everything from the other Goemon games.
I almost wonder if they were like, if that was the game.
Self-aware.
If the game developers were like making some sly joke about management not giving them enough time to make the game.
Yeah, right. Maybe we'll find some like nasty hidden developer messages in the code too. I hope Konami goes to hell and just makes pachinko machines in 10 years.
That's where it all began.
That's where it all began, right? Curse.
But I mean, I guess it's possible I could end up disappointed by it because of how similar it is. But I'm looking forward to it because I think the second one, Super Famicom, is probably my favorite one. Like, I've got a huge amount of nostalgia for the first N64 one because that's where I was introduced to it. But like, just as a game, I think the second one on Super Famicom is just the most fun.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of like the first Super Famicom, the Legend of the Mystical Ninja, also known as, try if you want to practice your Japanese. I believe it's called Yukihime Kyushitsu Emaki. Yeah, so
there are.
But
I just know them as the first one on this one, the second one on this system, the third one on this system, and the fourth one on this system.
I was gonna say, I don't know if you've watched a lot of my stuff, but I've done like 4 videos on Ganbare Goemon. So
I actually didn't. I mean, I've definitely watched some of your videos, but I did not know that, and I would have gladly watched them if I'd known, and I will endeavor to watch them soon.
Yeah, I heard from your pal, Mr. Game Day. He was like, yeah, Try's a big Goemon fan. I was like, oh, cool.
Wow.
I'd like to talk to him about this, because there are a lot of fans out there, but there are not too many vocal fans out there.
Like, I mean, like there's just something about it that's just like, just the characters, the style, the gameplay, the music. Like, it's just
the music.
It's just very appealing, and even though there are a lot, like I've played the N64 ones. I have the board game one, but I haven't played it yet. Was it Mononoke something?
Yeah, Sugoroku.
Yeah. And I have, other than just testing them, I haven't played the. I mean, these are the sole reason I bought a Japanese PS1.
Nice. You made the right choice, sir.
Yeah, I really like the series and want to play as many of them as, you know, a non-Japanese speaker reasonably can.
Yeah, well, I would say like those PS1 games, the first one that you're holding up, that Uchu Kaizoku Akugengu, it's kind of like Goemon 3 because it's a little bit more adventure-y, like free exploration.
The first one on the system?
Yes.
Yeah.
Really good game, I would say, but they don't have Yae and Ebisima, or not Ebisima, but Sasuke.
Yeah, it's got these
characters.
two weird characters.
Yeah, it's got that weird old alien dude and that buff dude. I don't remember their names. But
I don't see anything on the back that says. Oh, this one actually says. You probably can't see it there, but it says Japan only. So this is definitely not a.
I think you're gonna have to send that to me then.
Oh, you got.
You're not
the
allowed
Asian
to have
version?
that. It's contraband.
Oh yeah. Okay, and this one also says Japan only. The Shin Sadai. Yeah.
Contraband.
They all say Japan only, so I definitely have the Japanese versions. I don't. If they're.
I won't sick my Yakuza dogs after you. And I know you're a true fan, so I'm gonna let this one slide.
You know, I have seen some people say, like, isn't it illegal to own Japanese games?
Yeah, right. Back in the day, there were a lot of like, but it says for Japan only. Do not sell this outside of Japan. It's like ripping the tag off of your Serta mattress. No one's gonna care.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, and you know the interesting thing though is like no one really talks about the PlayStation ones.
Yeah. I did one video on Kurunara Koi, which is probably the second worst game in the series, but I still liked it. But
is that the?
That's the full 3D.
Yeah, like it's.
Can you try to pronounce that? Is it on English on the end?
Yeah, Gambare Goemon Kurunara Koi Ayashigeka no Kuryoi Kage.
Yeah, better than most. It's a start.
Well, Try is like
it's an attempt.
Everyone, like whenever Try says anything like in Japanese on the channel, like people are on him like every time. Like, you gotta learn.
A bunch of weebs. Don't worry about it. Don't listen to them.
I mean, I confer with people who know Japanese, and I still fail. Well, I don't always. I'm not consistent on that. But when I did the video on Sweet Home, I don't know if you saw that one.
I did. Before and after, or whatever.
Apparently, I butchered all of the character names.
Oh, whatever. I thought it was fine.
That's why I call them Chris, Jill, Rebecca, and Luigi.
Right.
I can say that.
That was a good. I was hoping you guys would do more of the before whatever series because I tend to really enjoy those.
Yeah, a lot of people have said that's my favorite series. I hope you do it. It always makes us feel good when people like talk about how much they like a series that isn't RGB because it's like so many people.
Come on.
So many people came to our channel.
Nice. Look at I have no health left.
Yeah, very nice.
So many people came to our channel for RGB, so it's always nice when we do something that's not RGB that people, say, I really like this.
Yeah.
No, definitely. Well, I mean, I remember your channel before it was turned into the RGB encyclopedia channel. And I was always impressed because you guys always covered the games that I liked. Like I think the first video I probably saw of yours was like Klonoa stuff, and I was like, oh, that's nice.
That was the first video with Coury on camera.
Yeah. It's a great game.
It's come a long way since then.
But
presents.
what was I gonna say? I lost it. Whatever.
Goemon or something, or RGB, non-RGB stuff. I think that's
was it something about Goemon? Was it something about non-RGB? Oh, I remember what I was going to say about people getting on me for Japanese names. Okay. Several people have gotten on me for. I don't know if you saw our second Hidden Gems video, but Ninja
Yes.
Assault, one of the
Yes.
characters is AOI. And I say "Aoi" in the video because that, at least to my ear, the ending scene if you played through the game as Aoi and you beat the boss, then there's some narration at the end, and the guy, I'm not saying he's right or wrong, but the guy in the official translation says Aoi. Now this is, given the quality of the rest of the dub, I would not say these are people to go by, but I said it the way the game said it, so it's canon.
No, that sounds fine. Who's getting on your ass about that? Because that's better than I think a lot of people would see that and be like, owie.
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea what I would have said if it wasn't in actually said in the game. So hey, if you can't beat the game, then you can't know how "aoi" is pronounced. So
Yeah.
sorry.
Someone referred us a while back to like a website where you can put in a word and we'll pronounce it for you. I can't remember what it's called, but that's what I started using.
Okay, it's interesting. But honestly, like with Japanese, if you ever taken like a Spanish class and you learn how to do like the Spanish vowels, everything's just like a, u, e, o. So that's all it is, really. No special consonant kind of rules.
Yeah.
So I think you did fine. Tried, screw the haters. They're just trying to pick on you. Cyberbullies.
Well,
let's add to the Patreon, guys. This guy was cyberbullied over his pronunciation of owl. So,
Cyberbullied.
kickstart this right now.
Like it's a
Fry Lives
Lifetime
Matter.
family movie.
Yeah. This is why he stopped his channel, because he was getting cyberbullied by a bunch of like Japanese phonetics police. You find out the big twist here is like I'm actually the one who was like using a different username.
It's you. It was you all along.
Yep. Infiltrated the stream. This is how I get my rocks off. I cyberbully and then I infiltrate the circle. Like, oh yeah, those guys are just haters. You keep going, champ. Oh, your ears are so delicious. From dark night on My Life in Gaming.
How much does the Game Boy Color? Ooh, I got another eBay notification. What is this? Oh, this is someone. This is, let's see. So let's see.
Is someone?
So I bought some 9-foot BNC cables to chain my PVMs together, and one of them won't it won't twist.
Oh, weird. So you can't won't click in.
I have tried to force it and I cannot lock it. So I got they were like $2 each, right? So I didn't even decide what I was going to do about it yet, because I needed 4 and I only have 3 that work. So I got a message from the seller like after I already received it that said, "Hope everything goes fine with you. This email probably disturbed you, but I'm concerning about your package status. 15 days have passed since your item was shipped. It should reach you very soon. Normally, that will arrive in 10 to 25 business days from China. When you are receiving good conditional and you really love the items, we hope you could leave us positive feedback and real 5 stars.
Real.
That's beautiful.
As the shipping is free and realize this international mail post, send by economy option. Hope you could really understand this." I don't know why I got this message, because I'd already received it, and they're just trying to tell me that the stuff is coming or whatever. He didn't have tracking on it, but it's just funny that the message starts while saying, "This email probably disturb you."
It's like pictures of you in a restaurant. Like where? Whoa! You're right. Disturbing me.
Hope everything goes fine with you. This email probably disturbed you, but I'm concerning about your package status.
Concerning about it.
Yeah, so I replied saying, I said, "Hey, I've received the items. Unfortunately, one of the cables has a problem. The connectors will not turn, and they will not connect to my monitors. Is it possible to have one cable replaced?"
How crazy! I kind of believe that I can beat this boss now. I just did really good on it on my first time. I didn't even realize I was at the boss yet. But I didn't beat it. I got halfway health.
The soothing English from Try's message from an eBay seller is giving you power. Keep Englishing.
I could only it's surprisingly hard to find just BNC to BNC cables. Monoprice is sold out right now, of the lengths that I need, and I can't find any on Amazon or Newegg or B&H that aren't way overpriced. So I could find several for pretty cheap shipping from China on eBay, so I got those. So I got 3 out of 4 work.
Yeah.
So I got a reply saying, "Hi there, sorry for the inconvenience. You can test it again. Maybe it not connect well. Could you please send us a picture for a record so we can contact the supplier? Thank you. If it is still that, we will deal with it. Fine. Welcome to contact us again soon." Some of the best English I've ever read. It's really good stuff.
It's charming.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's so nice.
And so, except
right?
they're very worried that they're going to disturb me.
I know, right? Wouldn't want that.
So I took a picture of all 3 into the PVM, but then the 4th one was not fully locked, and I would hope that got the point across. So I replied saying, "You can see that the cable on the far right will not make a secure lock. The others turn and lock, but the last one will not turn correctly, and I cannot lock it." So he replied again saying, "Hi there, sincerely sorry for this issue. It may be something wrong. In order to save your time and solve this issue immediately, I kindly suggest you take a refund of $2.60.
Oh, whoops.
Can you do me a favor? Can you go to a Chinese restaurant and pretend you have a problem with the food and see if they speak to you like this?
Is it acceptable for you? We will resolve this issue as soon as you receive your reply. Please kindly note for it. Look forward to your reply. Please forgive."
Please forgive.
And so I said, "I will accept that refund. Thank you very much."
It's $2.
Okay, this is the message that I just got. I have not read this yet. Live on stream.
Oh, good.
New series.
A lot of
Hi
firsts
there,
tonight.
Hi there. Sincerely sorry for this issue. To deal with it soon, we are going to issue a refund to your account within 1 business day. Please check it later. Thank you. Please don't give us a non-positive feedback. You are so kind to do so. We will do our best to reduce
You're so
this
kind
issue.
to give us a bad review.
We will do our best to reduce this issue. Hope you have a good day. Please forgive. Best regards.
It's not their fault at all.
I guess, yeah. I mean, it's whatever the distributor or manufacturer is. I mean, I'm not going to throw a big fit about $2.66.
Yeah.
I mean, I bought 4 cables.
But they're really afraid you're gonna.
Cents, and they were free shipping, so it's you can't beat that. To be honest, I'm probably going. What I was thinking about is I might just order, since I guess they're not just going to send me a replacement. I'm probably just going to make another order, and I'll probably order 5. Well, maybe I should order some longer ones instead. I don't know, because I was thinking about ordering an extra one, an extra set, in case, for some other situation, I just want to have some extras on hand that I can, jump another out if I need it. I
have no idea how I
you
just
want
got
to keep
that.
trying to order from the same seller and keep getting that gold in the messages.
Yeah.
I mean, like, when we
5
talk
times the
about
order,
this a little
5
bit
times
more.
the messages.
Keep getting the gold. Jimmy, you got to
What
see
you
some
should
pretty
do
good,
is-
pretty good stuff
Yeah.
out there. You see it.
But I mean, see, they didn't make me mad. I'm probably gonna order from them again because they're the best deal. I mean, even if it's a little hassle, it's like it's worth the price.
Right.
Yeah.
But and sure, I could just use RCA cables and adapt them to BNC, but I wanted like straight up BNC cables because
Right.
they're gonna be more secure. But anyway, I was going to ask Jimmy
Yes.
what here is one. They almost never ever pop up, but it looks like there is one on eBay right now. Here, let me look here. Oh, there's another one that's actually cart only, but it's already got 2 bids on it. Ooh. The Game Boy Color platformer, the only Goemon platform on Game Boy, the Dynamite Sararu,
Seikushi's Dynamite's Arawaru. Yeah.
never,
It's hard to find.
ever pops up on US eBay. Like
Right.
I'm actually looking right now, and there's like 2, which is I've never seen it card only. There is one complete in box. Buy it now for $77.
Wow.
Damn, yeah, that's I would say that's probably the most expensive Goemon game out there, even in Japan. I would have said like the MSX2 one is more expensive, but I got lucky. I found that for like $30 here. No manual, unfortunately. But
Actually, though,
I never see that Game Boy one.
I am totally going to bid on this one. That there's a cart only. I think I saw a cart only once before, but it came with another game, and I bid on anyway, and I lost. I've absolutely no idea what cart only should be worth because I've never seen it.
I think on like Yahoo Auction in Japan, card only is like $10-ish, so it's not that expensive here. But like getting it complete is probably like
I don't care if it's complete. I just want the freaking game.
Yeah. I was gonna say too bad like a year ago, and this auction was up for probably like a year, but they had like an auction. It was a buy it now where it had all the Ganbare Goemon Game Boy and Game Boy Color games, so like 5 of them, right? And it was $49.99 free shipping from a Japanese seller. And I was just like, maybe I should just get this. I just waited on it. But somebody eventually bought it, but it was on for like over a year. Like nobody was buying it.
Wow.
They didn't have that title in the description either, so it was kind of like nobody could find it probably.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, it's honestly the only one I really want because, like, I've heard that the Game Boy one that did come out here, I've heard is pretty bad.
Yeah, a lot of people say that's the very worst game in the series.
But I mean, if I ever did one, I mean, it's cheap enough. And I'd love to play the RPGs, but I kind of can't realistically. And then there's another one. It's like what Ebisumaru something, right?
Oh, the puzzle game for Super Famicom?
Or? No. I thought I don't know what the subtitle is, but
Ebisumaru Sarawara to Ebisumaru for
is
Game
that
Boy.
The other Game Boy one? Yeah.
Yeah, I actually did a video on that like a year ago, and that's kind of. But that's a great game. It's like if you got the first Ganbare Goemon and just improved everything that sucked about it. Which I like the first Ganbare Goemon, but it's kind of like it's a little bit grating to play after a while.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, that one eventually got a release in Europe as part of a Konami collection.
Right. It got. I want to say it's like Volume 2 in Europe, but I think it's like Volume 4 or 5 in Japan.
Yeah, it's like 2 or 3, I want to say. Something like that.
Right. But I mean, you could get that. I don't know how much it goes for, but everything's translated.
Might be a little pricey, but yeah, I mean, if that one's got your recommendation, I might keep an eye out for it. But the Dynamite's game, I mean, it's the obvious one for import.
For a Ganbare Goemon 2 fan like yourself, I mean, that's basically like
it's
having
like
Ganbare Goemon
they
2.
replaced the rabbits with cats,
Exactly, right?
I mean, it definitely looks the most import friendly because it's a platformer.
Oh yeah, definitely. I've not ever played it, unfortunately. That's one of the few games I'm actually missing. Which I'm missing, like the 2 RPGs, that Mystical Ninja Game Boy game that came out in the States, and I'm missing that. And I'm also missing 3. And then other than that, I have every Goemon game now. So
Wow.
I would love to pick up that game as well. So I'll see you on eBay, Try.
Yeah.
But outbid me. I'm a veteran. I was sneaking in the school library bidding on eBay back in the day. Can't beat me in a bid war. Let me see your feedback profile. Let me see that feedback profile. Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I mean, good luck on that though. If I find 2, and I'll let you know though. And it's not like ridiculous, like $70.
You've gotten a lot of like different things for people.
It's Wes from Second Opinion Games in the chat, and he asked if I ever got the shirt. And I did get the shirt. Thank you very much.
Have you worn it yet?
I have.
It's like literally like the most comfortable shirt like ever.
I wore it the other day. Yeah,
it's ridiculously soft. Like it doesn't even like I wore it on stream when my brother was here actually.
Oh, okay.
Or you can just tell us you were snuggling up with that earlier, weren't you, when you woke up?
It is a great shirt. Oh man, is my time gonna run out?
So
Oh, I thought,
Wow! I just noticed it was 11 o'clock.
I know. If I don't beat the boss this time, I'm done. I'm done.
You can do it. You got full health, man.
I know this boss is like so long. This level is so long.
Sure.
Well, you know
I believe
what?
in you. I think you can do it.
I looked at the timing, and the level is only like 5 minutes long.
I think after you repeat it like 5 or 6 times, though, it just starts.
Yeah, because it's not particularly
Time doesn't fly when
challenging.
you're not having fun, right? Yeah.
So this
it's
is
kind
the
of
last level.
This is the last full level, yes.
That's normal level, yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Because the 6th level is actually just like a boss fight, like a multi-tiered boss fight. But I wouldn't consider that like a full.
Cool animation in that boss fight too.
Oh yeah, that's where like the 32-bitness of it comes out.
Right. Yeah, it's really a shame that there weren't as many like great sprite-based type of games on the PlayStation. I mean, there are, but not as much as you'd hope. You know,
Yeah,
coming out of,
it's. I mean, I don't have the
golden
biggest
age.
PlayStation collection, but like when I'm doing RGB episodes, like I prefer to use 2D games because they illustrate most things more clearly than.
Oh, definitely.
And in this episode I'm working on now, like I want to represent PlayStation a fair bit, but I'm always struggling to pick PlayStation games because there's not. Well, same with N64, we're always using Mischief Makers.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it's like the best looking N64 game for demonstrating this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Might be the best looking N64 game in general.
It is a sexy. I was actually playing that the other day with my FrameMeister, but I don't have HDMI special ports like you guys. I was using S-Video, but it was looking excellent.
Ugh.
It's a good looking game.
It was like the
It's a
best
good
I've ever
looking
done
game.
against that boss.
Yeah, we need more Chinglish. So let's go international.
I'm
But
about the,
I got Bomberman 64, like the 2D one, recently for the N64. The one that I don't think I got released in the States. That's a pretty good looking 2D. Very basic.
Oh,
but-
yeah, I think I only learned about that like not that long ago, I want to say. And it's pretty expensive, right?
I looked on eBay and it was like $70 or so, but I think I ended up paying like 30, which I never spend that much on a game here unless it's like something amazing, but I never see it, so I thought, I might as well pick it up. $30.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see more about it, because I think the reason I kind of didn't know it existed is I probably ignored it, because if I heard people say that there was an expensive Bomberman game for the N64, I probably just assumed they were talking about Bomberman 64, what is it called, the second attack or something like that.
That's when
Which is
all those Baku Bomberman games and all that.
yeah, it's like a direct sequel to Bomberman 64, very much same style if I'm not mistaken, and
Right.
it looks it looks really good, but it's like
Kinda not a
$70
very-
here, and I'm not a big Bomberman fan. I kind of want to get Bomberman 64, but I'm just not that big of a Bomberman fan. But
I suck at those games. But
I kind of at one point considered getting the Second Attack because it is. I wanted to do a before and after on it because it was directed by the guy who went in and fixed Final Fantasy 14, which is just so random.
Okay, did you guys mention that on one of your videos before, or?
Maybe
I've heard that.
Maybe on a stream.
Okay.
I may have said on stream before, yeah,
Right.
because
Must have been a stream. Because I think I want to say I've heard you say that before, and I was like, that's kind of funny. So.
Yeah, Naoki Yoshida, or however you would want to say his name.
Naoki, close enough. You're good.
Naoki-
Don't worry, we don't have the
Naoki
word
Yoshida?
the phonetics police here.
But yeah, it's just like so wild. Like he worked at Hudson for a bit before going to Square, so it's kind of weird.
I see that Jara White in the chat is talking about the SCART to HDMI that we're going to be talking about in the FrameMeister Alternatives video. The cheap one.
The generic scaler.
Yeah. Says that
I'm still working on that segment. I don't know why it's not done.
He says, "Do we ever find a SCART upscaler that can handle 240p to 480? I switch seamlessly because that one can. The reason that one can is because it's seeing 240p as 480i. So there's no it's just always seeing an interlaced 480i signal. So there'll be no transition because it's not having to process the signals differently.
Yeah, I mean,
It has its benefits, and it's not that bad.
Looking at the B-roll that you sent me, like there's definitely specific instances where you were like trying to demonstrate an issue, but for the most part, it's not that bad.
Yeah,
it's not that bad. It is going to be the solution that a lot of people are looking for, and people who are looking for it have probably already searched and found it, but we're like, is that any good or not? And hopefully our video will give you enough information to know whether it's drawbacks or deal breakers for you or not. Because it's definitely got its drawbacks. It is not a very refined device, but
for the price, it's like,
yeah,
it might be anything. It might be like we say in the video, and this might be exactly what you want.
It might be exactly what it's basically. It's like turning your American TV into a PAL TV.
Yeah, it just like it allows you to have
it's
SCART
basically
port
like
on your
adding
HDTV.
it's basically like adding a SCART input to your HDTV. The quality of the processing is likely very similar to what is on your TV.
Yeah. And
it might be worse, it might be better than your TV. It varies so much. I need to plug HD Retrovision cables into my TV again so I can remind myself what that looks like on my TV, because I remember it looking pretty good, but I've been plugging composite into my TV to get off-screen shots for this video, and they look freaking awful. I tweeted that one picture of
Lunar 2.
Of Lunar 2 that I just thought looked so hilariously bad. Like you couldn't even make out the cat character.
Yeah.
What was it, Duke? The 8-bit Duke replied.
It was just a line from the game.
I know it's a line from the game because I've only played the beginning of the game, really just for testing footage. But where is that tweet? It made me laugh so much. Here it is. So I tweeted what Lunar 2 looks like. And if you play Lunar 2 right at the beginning of the game, the main character, what's the main character's name?
Hero.
Hero says I don't remember what the exact line is, but Duke said, "That's Ruby. She says she's a baby red dragon, but I think she's just a blurry red smudge."
It's destiny. You
Yeah.
know, it's the destiny of that.
Jimmy, have you played the Lunar games? Sorry, I totally killed the conversation.
Can I post links in the chat? I assume I can.
I don't know. You should be able to. Yeah, there you go.
I think it's the funniest looking picture.
Yeah.
It's just so terrible looking. But yeah, that's why I say I need to remind myself what my TV's built-in scaler looks like if I actually if I actually plug it in with like a good composite signal or excuse me, component. I can't be doing a series about this stuff if I'm going to say mix up composite and component. But yeah, that's I just think it's a funny picture.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty amazing. Like, I used to have the hardest time saying YPBPR, and now I just like have no problems. Yeah, it just comes out.
You know, I mean, I you know, that's such a tricky thing when I'm working on a script, because I'm like, do I say component or do I say YPBPR? Because like, there's always going to be someone being really snobby, say, component, blah blah blah, YPBPR. I mean, so when it's important, like if we're just talking generally about component video and people are going to know what we're talking about is YPBPR, then I tend to just say it. But if we're talking specifically about how the signal itself is converted, then it's important, I think, to say YPBPR.
Right.
And you have to deal with all the snobs, the language snobs and the tech snobs. Surprise! Yeah, you guys are doing a good job. You guys haven't had your
Well, we're only able to do what we do
somewhere
because of like the help that we get, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like the people that.
Yeah, I think you guys do a
fact-check
very
us.
good job of giving credit to those guys as well, so it's not like a weird like posers. You guys know a lot. No,
Yeah,
it's
I
very
mean,
good.
we drop, we should really say it more frequently in the videos than we do. Like, thank you to all our collaborators, because this is, we are not the experts. We just, it's taken us a lot of work to figure it out as well as we have. And I think our moderately simple understanding of it is probably what makes the series, what it is, because we understand the terms that you have to put it in for us to understand.
Right. This episode coming up is pretty cool though, because we got to like work with, we had like the upscaler master working with us on this.
Yeah, he looked over the script and gave us significant recommendations for how to word things and stuff. Like a big thing that I kind of learned was, what's the difference between video processor and video scaler? And well, video scaler is a type of video processor. Video processor is kind of the umbrella term that includes video scalers, which is something that is actually like, just scaling the image and has like a frame buffer to like do things to the image. And then a line, and also under video processors are line doublers, which is what the OSSC is. And that's something, maybe there is such a thing as a line doubler with a frame buffer. I don't know if that would make it not a line doubler anymore. But a line doubler is basically just like taking the signal, doubling the lines, and outputting it, so if it takes it in at 240p, spits it out 480p.
Right.
Or if it's going to line triple, as the OSSC can do, takes that 240p, spits out 720p. So that's why it's so fast, is because it's not doing anything significant. It's just taking it in, doing it, and it just seeing it immediately out. But that's also why it has some compatibility issues, because TVs, might be equipped to handle a Super Nintendo signal, which is operating at some weird hertz that's like slightly over 60.
Right.
And they might be equipped to handle that over an analog output, but the digital output is like, what is this garbage?
Like you probably did a great job of explaining that. And now you guys are trying to make this like accessible for the layman, but maybe it's just because I'm a moron, but I didn't understand half of what you were talking about, but it sounded spiffy. I'll put it
probably
that way.
because it didn't because for one, I don't speak as well when I'm just rambling off the top of my head, and two, you don't have the visuals and the rest of the context of the video to understand it. So
I'm sure.
I see that Simon Hellman is asking if it's next week or 2 weeks away. I think the ambition is for it to be next week, but if it's not, then it'll
weekend,
be.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna release it when it's done. I think if it's not,
we're gonna release it when it's done. I will say I will be disappointed if it is not out at this time next week. But the amount of work yet ahead is so daunting that, and I'm going to be busy tomorrow evening. I forgot that I'm going to be busy Tuesday evening, but I am. Other than that, I should be, pretty flexible. But
I guess we should. Oh, go ahead.
I'm just going to say, I'm not going to sugarcoat. There's a lot of work yet to go on this.
Yeah. I guess I should address as it stands right now, I'm not going to be on stream next week.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. My wife is going to have an outing with some other moms. They're going to go see this movie called Bad Moms. So it's kind of funny. So she's like, the only time we can do it is Sunday. Do you think that you could miss your stream so that I could go and you put the kids to bed? I was like, this last month with all the traveling I've done with too many games and going to visit Tri and then going to Buffalo. I feel like I owe her big time for being so supportive and being she needs a break. So I was like, So I will not be here next week, although it's Tri will be joined by 1 or 2 people perhaps.
All right. I'm glad it's not because I was here. You know what? Having this schmuck on stream, ruining everything with his rambling. Gotta step away from this project. I can't attach my name to this, but definitely let your lady friend go out and watch some Bad Moms.
Yeah, I mean,
not to get any ideas though.
I mean, I think it's kind of a fun thing for her to do with other moms in the area. You know what I mean? Maybe it's something they can just go and do together. So that'll be next Sunday, unless it gets unless they reschedule it, then we'll see.
Unless there's a mysterious bomb threat made to the from somebody in the audience. We need Coury on stream.
Yeah.
If you guys show Bad Moms, I'm gonna blow up the whole theater or whatever where it's at. There are ways to find this out. But
I think the person we're gonna have, I mean, if the episode is out by this time next week, then it's going to be a FrameMeister and OSSC stream. You're gonna stream them side by side.
That's the intent. If the episode is out, that will be what we do. If not, then we'll probably do it the next week. But I'm going to try so hard. Believe me, I want this episode done more than anyone.
But
I mean, I think we've said it before, but this episode is just one that we've kind of dreaded for a long time.
Yeah. It's like this episode, then geometry.
You've dreaded geometry. I've dreaded this because there's so much to it. And also, I'll admit, for the longest time, I wasn't that excited, in part because I'm like, FrameMeister alternatives? I don't need FrameMeister alternatives. I've got a FrameMeister.
Right.
So it didn't.
But there's
it
a
didn't
lot
mean
of
a
people
lot.
looking for this information.
Yeah,
don't
I
have
know,
the
but
$350.
right, but it was kind of a slog for me getting going because like it wasn't something that I was personally that interested in. But I will admit, like once I dug more into the OSSC and kind of understood how it works, and then I kind of saw how the episode was coming together, and I was like, okay. I mean, from the script writing process, I was like, I finally feel like this episode is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It took me a long time to get to that point, but I finally was like, okay, I think this is actually going to be pretty good. But I was nervous about it for a long time because I just didn't have a vision for how it was going to come together. But it's coming, but it's also about 35 minutes, and
it's going to be worth the wait.
It's going to be worth the wait, but it's.
You
want
to give anybody a preview of the music that you're going to be featuring in this one?
Oh, I mean,
the sultry serenades of Try. World premiere.
I'll just go down the whole list.
Because I always feel like we always take a lot of enjoyment in picking the songs that we use for the RGB episodes.
I had a lot of creative block on music for this one for some reason. But here's what I've got in it. I've got Power Blade. I've got Toe Jam and Earl. I've got Lunar 2 as chosen by Coury.
Yeah.
Very good.
I've got Panzer Dragoon, which is not the level 1 tune because I couldn't steal that.
Yeah, we got to save it for this. We got to save that one for the Saturn episode.
That's like probably the Saturn song.
Yeah. It's just it sex the song. Anything from that series, but yeah.
I mean, I've got 5 Saturn games, but I feel safe enough in saying that is probably the most important song on the system. I've got some Klonoa. I think it's Klonoa 2. Is that right? That you chose?
Oh, I didn't know you used that.
I did
all that
find
weird the music. It's good stuff.
You didn't use the you didn't use the snowboard like the one with the lyrics, did you?
No.
I was gonna say. You're using
that's the best.
I know, seriously.
Moonlight Museum or something?
Yeah.
Oh, the Wonder Swan game, or
no, there's like a level in Klonoa 2 is like called Moonlight. Something.
Yeah, it sounds really weird, and I didn't think I was going to have a place for it, but I think it fits well where I put it. And then I've got a Grandia 2 track for a pretty long time. That's pretty catchy.
Very, very good music in that as well.
Yeah,
all of the games, but yeah.
Very briefly, some Donkey Kong Country 2 music. And then also not for too long, some Radiata stories.
Oh, okay.
And then I've got a Streets of Rage 2 track that it's very mellow, and I haven't actually looked at the track that closely to see how frequently it loops. I'm afraid it might loop too often. But it's very mellow, and I think it kind of works, but I have it for an extended period of time. When I get more into editing that section, I may or may not decide if it works to keep it that way. Let's see, what is this? I'm going to unmute my sound system so I can hear what this is, because I don't remember what this one here is. It is the world's first line doubler with digital output, which is
world premiere preview.
Could you hear that?
Yeah.
That was Ys 3, Super Nintendo version.
Oh, nice.
Which I don't have, but I mean I played the PSP version.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know why. I was really feeling that. And then let's see this last section. Kirby's Air Ride. Actually, technically, I have 2 Kirby Air Ride tracks in here because I have one laid down for the majority of a section, and then I have like the I have like there's like a how to play track that's like really short and it loops frequently, but I kind of felt like it made like some good like ending thoughts music, so it transitions from the Kirby's Air Ride level track to the other track, and so I kind of have them together. I don't know, just the thing that I did.
You guys can release these like mixtapes, the My Life in Gaming. You have the How to Beat VHSs, and now you got the mixtapes. Yeah, this is like RGB 305. The tape.
Yeah, the tape is just like the music.
Sell like little dinky like old school like just CDRs at the conventions.
Right.
Gold in the chat room says do a dedicated Game Boy episode, which is my next RGB episode that I will edit.
And you already have a good portion of that, like already researched, shot, and
I've got some of the more complicated parts of that. I've already got like material captured for, and some B-roll shot, and even good chunks of the script written actually.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a big episode, but I'm definitely excited for it. I think the system specific ones are, always kind of a little exciting to do. I have no idea how big it's going to be. Like, I'm not going to go into like painstaking depth on like every version of the Game Boy you can buy, but what we will go in depth on are primarily the ways to play them on your TV.
Right.
That's the primary focus of the episode, but it is also going to at least touch on, the important overview details of each handheld device. And you were thinking about ordering one of those, whatchamacallums? Revo, is that what it's called?
Oh yeah, and I haven't ordered it yet. They're like the, what is it, like Revo something? I don't remember.
Yeah. I definitely want to do a people are talking about doing a Vita episode. I want to do a PSP and Vita combined episode.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be pretty fun. I think that should be pretty lightweight, right?
Well, we'd hope. We would hope.
Maybe not as high of a priority as few other episodes we need to get to, but so Game Boy after FrameMeister alternatives, we're going like Coury. The next RGB you're going to edit is Geometry. You're pretty sure?
Yes, and I don't think it's going to be super long. I don't know. I mean, we always say that.
Yeah.
It's
I mean, what all could there be to say about that? I mean, at first when I started finally getting writing on this script, I'm like, okay, like I just wrote this section and it's like, it's not that crazy. It's not as crazy as I thought it would be. And then the whole thing gets strung out and it's 35 minutes, longest RGB episode. It's just how it always goes. I think,
yeah. Jimmy, what do you have on deck besides the Goemon episode that you're doing?
I got that hopefully tomorrow.
Because you just released a super, like a really long video on Legend of Valkyrie, the arcade version.
That is correct.
Oh, yeah.
So I had a little bit of time to. This is something I had in my head for a while now, so I just kind of went out and filmed it when I had some time off from work.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why this next episode is going to probably drop tomorrow. But it's going to be a little weird. It's going to be a little bit different from the usual. So I'm anticipating a lot of thumbs down. So you guys go out there and do your duty, thumbs that down, and make my dreams come true. But it's on a Goemon game, and then after that, hopefully, finishing up the Legend of Valkyrie with the ports.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not a
something
huge priority.
Yeah, like I may appear in that episode.
Oh, really? Oh,
well,
I didn't know about that. Oh, yeah.
Maybe.
There might be a special guest appearance in that episode. I'm not sure though.
I'm a big fan of the PC Engine one.
Yeah, great game. Kind of like it in some ways better than the arcade.
Yeah. Just
because it feels like it's more of like a game. You sit down and play it. It's got passwords, stuff like that. But
right.
Yeah, so that's definitely on my end it doesn't really matter. But if I do have a special guest working on that, whenever that special guest has a little bit of free time and doesn't feel overwhelmed by 35-minute long plus videos about videos. Yeah, that's something there. And I got so many things that I want to do videos on, but just I don't really have the time these days, or the energy kind of as well.
Yeah. I mean, your release schedule is just, whenever you finish, essentially.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be an e-celeb. This is just a hobby for me. So it's just whenever I have time and whatever I feel like doing. But yeah, hopefully getting Valkyrie stuff done this year and doing some more Goemon stuff. And try if you're down for a collab, check out those Goemon videos.
Yeah, I want to see them now. I had no idea you'd done
it. If you think they're terrible though, I'll know, because I'll be like, oh, whether or not you're like, yeah, come collab with me.
Well, maybe like you could like just pronounce all the names. Like you can overdub Try's voice with you like saying the names properly.
Yeah, it'll stop, and then halfway through it's actually pronounced this. People are gonna be like, man, that Jimmy Hapa guy is such an asshole, and they wouldn't be off.
That would actually be hilarious. Like every time I say the name, like just overdub my voice with yours, but I still move my mouth.
Yep.
That would be amazing.
This is to avoid, this is like a disclaimer in the beginning, to avoid any sort of like snarky comments about pronunciation.
Because it'd be all over the place for that one, I'm sure.
Oh, it'd be fun.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, with a weird game, I think you have license to do a little bit of weird stuff.
That is
with
true. That is true. In fact, I would say you should. So.
Exactly.
Yeah, going on. Good weird stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just a good series,
Yeah.
And
I think something that I've said before is that it was kind of like the first one, N64, was like the first like unashamedly Japanese thing that I had like really been exposed to. I felt like sure, like almost all the video games that I had played were Japanese, but that was like the first one that didn't try to hide it.
Right. I mean, I would say that for me, it's like the Super Nintendo one was like that for me when I was a little bit younger. But yeah, the N64 one, I mean, they kept in all like the music. They cut out a little bit, but they mostly kept everything intact.
Yeah, like it's just, and like the fact that like most of the humor, like the translation was bad, and like they've got this laugh track, and it's like most of the time I don't know why they're laughing, but I'm like amused by the fact that I'm so confused by the humor, know? Like that to me, that just felt like it was all part of this cultural experience, and it was just like, I don't understand what's going on, but I love it.
Right. Well, it's like even like they kept a laugh track for things that translated to English probably is not clever or witty at all. It's like, he just called you a weirdo. I'm like, that's not that funny.
Exactly. Yeah.
But you're just kind of you're scratching your head like,
weirdo.
Got him good, didn't you?
Yeah, it's weird. But I at the time, like, I didn't know about like bad translations and stuff like that. Like, I just was like, I don't understand why this is funny. And even though I was probably learning the wrong things, I felt like I was learning things about Japanese culture,
Right.
So
it had a lot in there. A lot of people, I think, got exposed to weird Japanese stuff.
Yeah,
but like if you get,
I think it definitely gave me this idea, whether fair or unfair, that Japan was really weird.
Yeah. Well, once I was gonna say, you get desensitized to it though. Like at first you're like, wow, this is so weird, but then like once you're immersed in it enough, you're just like, yeah, it's normal. It's whatever. Nothing really surprises you anymore. So once you're done with those Goemon games, honestly, you're gonna be desensitized to the wackiness, and it's gonna be sad. It's gonna be.
I think that, back to the second one on Super Famicom, I think that one is like, of the ones that I have played, like conceptually the weirdest, at least considering, I didn't really get a lot out of the story on the other ones, but I can, like, I know that the basis of the second one is that you've got these Westerners invading Japan, trying to Westernize Japan, but they're men dressed in bunny suits.
Right.
It makes no sense, but it's so goofy.
I was gonna say somebody left a comment on my video on Ganbare Goemon 2. I think this was like something they left on the comment, or I read it somewhere. But usagi is like the Japanese word for bunny, and USA is usagi, right? So that's kind of. And I didn't realize that when I was playing it either. I was like, oh, wait a sec, that makes a lot of sense, So there's a lot of weird stuff like that. It's really a very punny series for sure.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's a big part why it's been very limitedly localized, but they're good games, So
fantastic.
But
honestly, some of the best gaming experiences I think you could have on a console for sure.
Yeah, and it's just the series definitely has its fans, but I feel like it's surprising that there aren't more people that are just like really love. But every once in a while, like I'll get a comment on like one of the N64 videos, and people be like, "Oh yes, go, you get my subscription just because you had Goemon music in it." I'm like, stay tuned. I don't know when, but I'm going to be releasing these videos.
Yeah. I was gonna say, even like Smash Brothers, even in the States, there were a lot of people who were like, "We want Goemon in the game," but that never happened.
Yeah,
it was like Goemon or Geno from Super Mario RPG. Like, well, okay, you guys are just weird, but
there's like no chance of either of those happening.
Right.
All right, is that gonna do it for us?
I guess so.
You guys mind if I plug a Patreon page?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
Patreon.com/mylifeingaming. If you become a $500 Patreon like myself, you can join the stream and ruin it for everybody. So check it out. Patreon.com/mylifeingaming.
And we'll send you an issue of Game Master, a complete run of Game Masters magazine.
And signed by the
Do
Emperor.
you have the original files for that?
No, they were done on word processor. They were typed up and then photocopied.
Right. Oh.
Hot off the press.
Jimmy, thanks so much for joining us. It's been awesome having you on. You and your velvety voice.
I don't know about that, but yeah. I saw so early on something like, oh, this is rambling, this is boring. Well, I apologize for that, but I was just very nervous. I'm here with, I think, two people who create and that's not me just sucking up because I'm on the stream, but I think you guys have the best, in my opinion, best gaming channel on YouTube. I don't watch a lot of gaming channels on YouTube, honestly, so I don't know. Maybe you guys aren't the best, but to me, you are. So.
Well, thank you. All
right, well, go eat you some lunch.
Yeah, it's lunchtime for you.
All right, well, thanks a lot.
Yep.
And I hope to be on again sometime.
Yeah, you are more than welcome anytime. Anytime you want to take the day off work.
I'll do just that then. And thanks for the chat for being such a... I wish I could talk to the chat more, but it's hard to toggle between these screens.
Yeah, it definitely can be.
Lots of love for these people in the chat.
All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Take it easy.